not content with merely improving his strength and flexibility, you'll never guess what your boy has gotten into. Starting yesterday, actually, at the behest of some friends, but also of his own volition. That's right, your boy's on his skincare arc. No acne. Well, there never was any. My skin's just naturally perfect. No, I got just some basic stuff. I got some sunscreen and retinol and salicylic acid and another kind of acid and another kind of acid and just a couple of things, you know, just a couple of things. All very cheap, all from the company The Ordinary. You can get these bottles for like $6. You weren't wearing sunscreen? I never wear sunscreen because I don't go outside. But what if I do go outside? I know. I know. You'll be on that Korean skincare routine in 6 months. My opinion is that, and this is the case for basically everything that people get really into, 90% of it is highfalutin bullshit, and you can cut right down to the basics. So you probably only need like 4 products at most, right? Something you use, you need a cleanser, a moisturizer, some kind of acid, and a lotion. And that's probably, like, legitimately, you can probably get like 95% of the way there just with that, right? Like everything in it, like maybe if you have specific needs, you can build on top. And sunscreen too, sunscreen. And if you build on top of that, you know. Touch grass, what next? Get vitamin D3? I get that in pill form, thank you. Difference between lotion and moisturizer? I have no idea. Sunscreens for white people? That's not true, because I got my skincare advice from a person of color, and they put their sunscreen on every day. I sit my white ass down when a person of color is speaking. Niacinamide is really good for skin tightening. Yes, I have that as well. What I was really looking for was something for stretch marks, because I have them around the base of my penis, because my penis is so big that it stretches the skin all around my body, you know? Whenever I get hard, it's like someone's pulling, you know, like dragging down the skin all over my body. But, you know, I do want to dial that down a little bit. Sounds like a nightmare. Yeah, it's horrifying to watch. Vosh was quadruple circumcised, yeah. I've converted and deconverted to Judaism 3 times. I have severe stretch marks on my shoulder near my gut. I've got them right here. I've got them back when I was working out in high school. I got big enough guns that I got some stretch marks under my armpit. It's pretty cool. There are diminishing returns. There are diminishing returns for everything in life. Absolutely everything, with no exceptions. Here, 1 sec. Hi. Now, do you really have a right to complain when you just got 2 breakfasts? When you got 2 breakfasts? I don't think you do. Did you pay? Did you pay for the breakfast? Bagheera. Getting harassed. How'd she lose the ear tip? She was stray. She was astray and she went to a what do they call them? What do they call them? Shelter. And they cut the ear when they get fixed. Got a little bit too much in her case, though. You're missing a lot of ear, buddy. Please show us the shoulder backstretch again. Shoulder and backstretch? I don't know what the hell you're talking about. Oh, Miss Gender Lynn, I'm so sorry to hear that. That's really sad. Tattoo is a much better method than the ear clip. Well, in any case, she's fine. You're fine. Beep. Classic cat name, by the way. Oh, for sure. For sure. Do we have to do politics today, lol? I'm afraid so. You guys want some good news to start the day? Sure. Oh, I don't want a username. Thank you. I really appreciate that. Just wanted to pop in before I start lurking to say that you've been a crucial figure in dragging me out of the far-right mud pit of despair, and I just wanted to say thank you for what you're doing. I really appreciate that, yeah. Especially now that we know that the far-right mud pit of despair is literally an Israeli pedophile op constructed by Epstein to divide the Western electorate while they maintain control. It's, you know, it's a better time than ever. Listen, okay? A lot of far-right people friends with Epstein, a lot of bankers, a lot of financiers, a lot of politicians, not a lot of transgender internet communists. Friends with Epstein, you know? Not a lot of that. Can learn a lot from who he decided to spend his time with. Fucking stupid. True, though. They got Chomsky, though? Yeah, well, he's a piece of shit. Hegel was mentioned in the files. Oh, I'm sure people like that love to talk Hegel. All right, here's the good news. The real good news. Folks, you're not going to believe this, given that we're living in an era of unprecedented times, you know, we're living in an era of nothing ever happens. It turns out there actually are consequences to being the worst guys on earth who do nothing. Everything you do is bad. You fail at everything you do. It turns out there actually are some consequences. The midterms are coming up this year. On the line, the House majority, and also in some very, very slim timeline, the Senate majority. And folks, it's not looking good for the GOP right now. It's actually looking really, 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 really bad, like apocalyptically bad for them, like comically bad. This is an AP article on, which Colorado district are we talking about here? Let's see. Are we talking about a specific Colorado district? Well, that's okay. I didn't even mean to look at this article. It's tangential, it seems, to what I was talking about. Oh, here we go. Even a small shift is significant in the 8th District, where Republican Gabe Evans was elected to Congress in 2024 by 2,449 votes out of more than 333,000 cast. Not going to need a very big shift to dethrone Mr. Gabe Evans. Well, folks, have you been paying attention to the special elections of late? Have you? Here's one that took place last Tuesday. Oh, it's not much. Just Democrat Lugar Nikolai winning by a keen 91 points. Oh, and you're saying, well, okay, it's Minnesota. It's a special election. It's state house in Minnesota. You know, of course the Dems are going to win there. And yeah, sure, the Democrats won there before, to be sure. Though, When the Dems won back in 2025, outside the special election, they won by 67 points. So they went from 67 to 91. That's pretty bad. Or if you want to put it a different way, no, you don't have to put it. You don't have to put it any other way. You guys want a real bop right down here, down at the bottom left? State House, 67 to 67. I know, right? God's laughing at us. Seriously, though, this is ridiculous. Okay. Now, but you're thinking, okay, this is marginal. This is a state house district special election taking place in Minnesota. This is hardly like reflective of the broader country. Well, did you pay attention to what happened in Iowa back 4 days ago? Democrats flipped the state house district 35. The district was Trump plus 21 in 2024. Now, Democrats won by 4 points. Iowa, not exactly a deep blue haven. That's pretty interesting, don't you think? Well, okay, sure, fine. So it's a flip state house district. All right, okay. But what about something a little bit more punchy, okay? What about I don't know. What about a state Texas district? Or sorry, state Texas. Good Lord. The state of Texas's Senate. What about that? Well, if you've been paying attention to Texas and, I don't know, Twitter the past 24 hours, folks, a Democrat by 15 points in Texas. This was a red seat. Not only was this a Republican seat, this has been a Republican seat uninterrupted for 35 years. This seat went Trump plus 17. It's seen a 32-point shift over to the left. 32-point shift in a year. That's pretty cool. Here, let me get this guy's big old mug on screen. Hold on. The Democrat who won here's got kind of like that football chud face. You know what I mean? Real, here we go. There we go. Taylor Remmett. What's up, my man? You are stretching that suit jacket out. There's our boy. 32-point flip. When Trump plus 17 hasn't elected Democrats since 1991. Trump personally endorsed the opponent, spent days hyping up this race, still lost. It's true, folks. It's true. They did not want to lose this seat. It makes them look pretty bad. Here is what the swing looks like in SD09 in Texas between now and 2024. The map on the left side that I'm going to show you is how people voted in this special election. The map on the right side is how each area flipped from 2024. There's the voting map. Here's how it looks relative to 2024. There are districts here who shifted 50 points or more. Keep in mind that the Texas gerrymander was built on the assumption that Trump would be able to maintain or at least slimly hold the gains that he made with Latin voters in between 2020 and 2024. Based on these numbers, it seems likely, more likely than not, that the Texas gerrymander is actually going to give us more seats in the House than we would have had before. A dummy mander. They're spreading themselves too thin. Here is what the country looks like in the midterms if we apply the Texas Senate District 9 swing nationally. Now, this isn't likely to happen, but oh boy, if it was applied nationally, Democrats would have the world's first super duper majority in the House. Now, again, this is not a likely outcome. It's that we're not going to get a 32-point swing across the country, but we don't need a 32-point swing. Not even close. We don't need a 32-point swing or a 22-point swing. Even a 12-point swing would be enormous. Right now, the special elections that we're seeing, the outcomes that we're seeing, are genuinely, for the right, apocalyptic. Like, life-ending. Did them shooting 2 white people in broad daylight and releasing evidence the president is a pedophile actually have an effect? God only knows. For the most part, it looks like this stuff is being motivated by what they're doing in Minnesota, by the way. The results that we're looking at here don't seem to be affected primarily by the... Look, anybody who already didn't like Trump knew that he was a pedophile, right? Like, widely known. For the most part, it looks like the Epstein stuff is leading to disenfranchisement on the right. It's not shifting people from right to left. It's making people on the right go, fuck this, and not show up. It's hard to, like, maintain enthusiasm on your side when you're trying to get them to ignore this much evidence. They're tuning out. They're like, okay, whatever the fuck, you know, I don't know, whatever. But the Minnesota ICE behavior is pushing people to the left. I believe that over the past month alone, independents have shifted 15 more points from over to the Democrats, largely based on what's happening in ICE. The stuff that ICE has been doing is so openly, flagrantly evil that it is actually pushing people over to the left. And God bless them for that, you know? God bless them for that. Imagine if Dems had a spine and pushed back more. Yeah, I know. Wouldn't it be nice if we had a real opposition party? Look at the voter composition. Republicans did not lose the Texas SD9 runoff because of low GOP turnout. They lost because almost all of the independents and some of the Republicans voted Dem. Ooh. Of those who voted in the Texas Senate District 9 runoff, 50% plus were GOP primary voters or at the GOP HH. Oh, HH? I'm blanking on this. HH. The prior runoff? The Heil Hitler. It must be Heil Hitler, obviously. Only 50% plus were at primary voters or at the big Heil Hitler party. Has been Hotel. Only 35% were Dems or at the Dems Heil Hitler party. It's really bad for them, is the point that's being made here. It's really, really, really bad for them. More Republicans than Democrats in this district. There are so many more Republicans in this district that even Dems plus independents do not overcome the number of Republicans. And yet... Let's do a little victory lap.
Good morning. It is Sunday, February 1st. Today, could it be a preview of the midterms? A major upset in Texas as a Democrat wins a special state Senate election by...
Yes, the GOP did outspend the Democrat 10-1. Yeah. It was like they spent a fuck ton of money to try to keep the Senate seat from flipping, and it did not matter.
Double digits in a
honest question, is this even good? Do we want to legitimize Democrats at this point? I mean, both parties are deep state pedophile apologist, at best apologist parties, but the Democrats are still better than Republicans. Also, I am particularly supportive of Democrat overperformance in the midterms because voters, for the most part, see this as a advocacy for a bunch of independent candidates rather than like the Democrats as a national entity. I know the Democrats are going to pitch forward like fucking Pete Buttigieg or Josh Shapiro or Gavin Newsom or Kamala Harris in 2028, and I will hate them for it, and I will vote for J.D. Vance. However, in the meantime, this is representative of a broader ennui, right? Against Republicans, not for Democrats.
District Trump won by a landslide.
Then two major court decisions in the Minnesota ICE crackdown, including a scathing ruling ordering
get to the votes.
And his father to be freed from ICE detention.
So much more.
With Eugene Daniels and Jackie Alamany. We begin with a major Democratic upset in a Texas state Senate election runoff. Late last night, Democrat Taylor Remmett was declared the winner over Republican Lee.
Man, they really do all look like that, huh? Jesus Christ.
Wamsgans by double digits in the state's deep red 9th district that President Trump won by 17 points in 2024. Remit is a 33-year-old local union leader and first-time candidate whose race caught outsized attention after he overperformed in November's election, triggering the runoff. Remit has since received a surge of support from Democratic groups, including the DNC. It's also another loss for President Trump, who posted on Truth Social just before the runoff. Lee Wamsgans, a Republican running for the state Senate in the suburbs of Fort Worth, Texas, will be a great candidate and has my complete and total endorsement. Jackie, Eugene, some caveats to put out there.
Right.
It's a state Senate race. It's a runoff, so turnout
Special
is
election,
lower. Special election, yeah,
Saturday,
the whole thing.
yeah.
But the key thing is you can't go from a 17-point win by the president in 24 and then win by 14 points as a Democrat, even in a state Senate election. That's a 31-point swing. That has to.
It seems to me it's urban and suburban areas shifting in huge numbers. Rural-eyed demons aren't shifting as much. They're cattle. I wouldn't expect much from them. They were born to be exploited by the ruling class. But yeah, no, people who can think and people who can feel, for the most part, are shifting away from the Trump administration. It's looking really, really bad for them. You would probably feel it a lot more if it wasn't for the fact that the Democrats are not a functional opposition party, you know? Like, if the Democrats were a functional opposition party, they would be dominating the national conversation. Every day you'd wake up, and it wouldn't be news about Epstein, it'd be news about Democrats slamming Trump for Epstein. But of course, we don't live in that world.
And a huge signal, not only to the Democrats that maybe Texas is in play, but a huge signal to Republicans that Texas is not as safe as it seems.
One, it's a reminder to Democrats to play everywhere, right? You don't have to spend all your money in one bucket, but you should play everywhere. That's something that we hear a lot from younger Democrats, especially, that they want to see that from the party. Two, it's a reminder, I think, that Trump's unconditional endorsement and support doesn't actually come with any resources. So all these people who are worried that Trump in the primaries is going to endorse their opponent, Donald Trump doesn't throw money behind it when he does that, right? That's not what happens. And so it also tells you where all the energy is, right? I think that's what you can extrapolate, is at the end of the day, people that are on the...
Y'all, the RNC got $95 million in cash in hand. The DNC went from $16 million into debt just in time for the midterms. Man, what the fuck are they doing over there? How the fuck... Well, I guess it's difficult to compete with Republicans' cash flow when Trump is getting like $500 million bribes from every evil foreign government on earth. Like they have access to like infinite money. They're tapped into capital harder than any party ever has been. But how are the Democrats in debt? What are you spending that on? God, it's all TV ads. They're just doing TV ads, man. What if this was all chorus payouts? You know, what if this was all like money to Deepak or that other guy? Dem voters are donating to candidates, not the DNC. Probably pretty difficult to get people to give money to the DNC when everyone knows that it's a worthless fucking organization, yeah. Ugh. Not to mention all the debt they were carrying from Kamala Harris's campaign somehow.
The left, people that are upset about a lot of the things they're seeing from this administration, those are the people you're going to see in special elections. Those are the people you're going to see on Saturdays going to vote. And more importantly, those are the people you're going to see in the midterms voting.
Yeah, I mean, I'm looking forward to digging into the crosstabs to see what the issues that voters were most galvanized on. But while Trump has still polled well on border security, we've obviously seen his numbers on interior immigration policy crater in the last few weeks. And while we've...
God, people are so fucking retarded, man. He does still poll well on border security. The reason for that being nobody's entering the border right now because no one would ever want to come to this shithole country. Like, yeah, it's you've successfully deterred border migration by making America universally unappealing to all people. But support for domestic immigration crackdowns has been dropping consistently. I'd love to see a breakdown on that, Masaiko.
Been super focused on Minnesota. Texas, at the end of the day, has become the epicenter for the detention operation that this administration is facilitating, with people like Liam,
Little Liam,
5-year-old Liam, and his father, and countless other young children, and some even legal U.S. citizens being detained, and Texans being exposed to some of these horrible...
We're talking about some broader stuff right now. Hold on. This is from CBS Texas 15 hours ago. It's before the election results were called. I'm kind of curious what tone they're going to take.
Well, look at this, folks. The Democratic candidate, yes, a Democratic candidate for an open state Senate seat in Tarrant County is leading the Republican. If that sounds surprising, based on history, it is. This is a live look right now from the watch party happening in Fort Worth. It is all part of a special runoff election in a Republican majority district that has received national attention. Eye on Politics reporter Jack Fink has been all over this. He's in the newsroom now.
Everybody's surprised by this. This is from 1 day ago.
Tomorrow is Saturday. It's also the runoff special election for an open state Senate seat in Tarrant County specifically, and that's a race that has attracted some national attention. Eye on Politics reporter Jack Fink is here, and my question is going to be obviously why the national attention on this race?
Well, Doug, this is a race between Republican Lee Wamsgans and Democrat Taylor Ramett, and the reason it's gotten some national attention is because Ramett nearly won this Republican majority district outright in November when there were 2 Republicans in the race.
I would never misspeak.
Now, this race has also gotten the attention of the Democratic National Committee, which is helping Ramett, a local union president in Fort Worth. The DNC says it's helping him reach out to voters to get them to the polls. Republicans say they're also trying to get their supporters out to vote for Wamsgans, an activist in the community for years. As to the importance of this race, the DNC's Deputy Communications Director, Obi Rahman, sent a statement saying in part, quote, the DNC is supporting the Texas Democratic Coordinated Campaign by recruiting volunteers and bringing our message to more voters.
Chief Communications Officer of Patriot Mobile and executive director of its affiliated PAC, Patriot Mobile Action. She supported school board candidates who opposed diversity, equity, and inclusion initiatives and critical race theory in the Dallas-Fort Worth region as co-chair of South Lake Families PAC. Can you really call yourself an activist when you're just like leading PACs? Is that the definition of an activist? Like, oh, I sit on the board of multiple like corporate dark money groups. Is that an activist? Does that count? And you're not going to believe it, guys. She was a finalist in the 1988 Miss Oklahoma USA contest and appeared in a 1989 slasher film. This is every Republican woman, man. Every single one of them. It's crazy. Keep in mind, they literally don't have activists on the right. This is close they can get. Yeah, basically. Amidst the George Floyd protests in 2020, Wamsgans made a Facebook post stating, quote, sadly, they need to die, but they would still vote, in reference to BLM protesters and the conspiracy theory that people were impersonating dead voters. Lovely. Speaking out of the 2023 Moms for Liberty Summit, she stated, this is not a political war, it's a spiritual war. Testified against the Tarrant County Commissioners providing funding for the county's chapter of Girls Inc. due to the national affiliate's advocacy on LGBTQ rights and abortion, stating the national and local chapter could not be separated. Brilliant stuff. The state Senate district has a bunch of mega churches. Yeah, that makes sense. What a demonic fucking bitch. What an unbelievable piece of shit. I can't believe, like, I genuinely feel like you could go to a tin pot dictator in the third world and find more legitimately good people in the ranks of the ruling party. Like, you could go to Pinochet's junta and find more people working underneath Pinochet who are probably just like fastidious bureaucrats who didn't really care who they operated under. But with the Republican Party, literally every single one of them does evil for fun. Like, none of them are fastidious bureaucrats. Not one of them. All of them are like desperate, attention-seeking, clout-chasing, wannabe celebrity demon people. You know? Or the Soviets for sure. Oh my god, the Soviets were like all fastidious bureaucrats. That was like the whole fucking, like, this is like half the Politburo. You know, it's just they just don't have those guys on the right anymore. I'm starting to believe they really eat babies. Well, did you read the recent Epstein files? That's not that's a you know, defensible accusation now. Thank God she lost in a 32-point swing. It's a literal blood and death cult. Yeah, watch my recent video where I crib off Dan Olson. Yeah. Was Ted Cruz a prophet for predicting this outcome? You don't have to be a prophet to know that what the Republican Party is doing right now is suicidal and self-destructive. That's not a, you know, not really a high IQ read. Good of him to figure it out, but, you know, whatever. At the end of the day, like, Ted Cruz is just as... Ted Cruz, Ron DeSantis, there are going to be a bunch of Republicans who are hemming and hawing over this. They're going to be like, yes, it turns out doing bad things is unpopular. Yes. But they all suck Trump's dick the entire way. They're fully responsible. Now they're going to be like, oh, I was the voice of reason the whole time. But you went along with everything he said and everything he did, and you never criticized him the entire time. Prescient. Me with the orb of Apollo, or whatever. Was it Apollo's orb? Was Apollo the one with the orb of prophecy? Or was that a different one? Every demographic that swung for Trump in 2024 has reverted back to Dems except for white voters. No, even white voters have shifted over, I believe. Maybe not between hold on. 2020, 2024, 2026. I'm pretty sure that white voters have shifted over to an extent, but it is true that they are an innately demonic. No, I can't say. Will YouTube get mad at me like Twitch would? I'm white. It's a joke. Tiny little shift. I'm pretty sure these numbers are actually a lot more extreme than they look here. I'm sorry if this already been covered, but are there seriously allegations of blood rituals and sword executions? With Epstein? Yeah, I think so. With like the George W. Bush stuff or H.W. Bush stuff? Yeah. Why wouldn't they? Do you really think people would run an international child sex trafficking organization and not do blood sacrifices? What the fuck is the point? I feel like they're like, well, I can understand them being evil enough to do that, but why would they do the other stuff? Like, they murdered people? Dog, murdering people is how you get away with the child sex trafficking operation. You think they're just going to leave thousands of women, like, around? Like, what do you... that's the whole point of the operation. Tragic that Dick Cheney isn't in the files. He was doing it for the love of the game. Dick Cheney's up there in super heaven. He's the one big GOP guy not implicated in the files. They invited him to the island and he was like, nah, and just went back to hunting or whatever. Is Kissinger in the files? I don't think so. Not yet. I think that might just be an age thing. I guarantee you that Kissinger was doing his generation's version of the Epstein thing, though. For sure. Like, he was literally known for being a demonic socialite who made friends with everyone. Like, he was the Epstein of his time in a way, in the sense that he was this like kiss ass whose job it was to make friends with everyone in media, popular culture, and you know, the Hill. I don't know. Is our generation's version of the Epstein thing 4chan lolicon? What the fuck are you talking about? Our generation's version of the Epstein thing is Jeffrey Epstein. All the people affiliated with him are alive and in power. What are you talking about? What are we talking about right now? Listen, the point here is that this is insane. All right? The point here is that it's looking bad for them. Take that to heart. For whatever it means. What state is this? Texas. Pay attention. Let me pitch this one over to the editors. Then we will talk more. I've seen quite a few people seeing the 4chan Epstein connection saying they were duped. Obviously, green text idiots, but still. For the most part, it's not going to lead to a big awakening because the majority of people who have spent the past decade being fooled by right-wing culture war stuff that was prompted by a literal deep state pedophile Israeli who, like Israel, U.S. Intelligence affiliated, deep state connected fella. Like those people would rather just think that Epstein is based than really have a turnabout on this. They'll just claim him as their guy. Because Epstein was also far right, so obviously they're going to, like, you know, go along with it. Deus Ex was a documentary? Seriously. Here, let me send this over. 1 second. Do-do-do. What's a good one for that? It's been a while since we've done anything electoral, you know? GOP candidate obliterated in shocking election flip? Haha. Hope run went well. Got some healthy editors, it seems. Okay. What are we on about? You see the USA sending ICE to the Olympics as security? Yes, that has been known. In the past, they've sent HSI over to the Olympics, but they're sending actual ICE over now, I believe, which is pretty funny. Do you think Trump will allow the midterms to happen when he has a preview of what's going to happen? Trump can't stop the midterms. He doesn't have the power. Oh, I've been meaning to do this more often, by the way, so I'm going to try to. Hey, everyone. If you're enjoying the stream, like and subscribe. The chat that you see in the bottom left of the screen is on my site, vosh.gg, which I maintain because YouTube chat kind of sucks sometimes. But I love you if you're there, you know? Also, there are more segments of equal quality over on my second channel, the Vosh Pit. I don't know if you know that. I'm just saying it. Just trying to... I have to pitch it now and again because I feel like otherwise I'm not very good at self-promotion, you know? Not very good at self-promotion. Milan protesters call for U.S. ICE agents to leave Italy as winter grips. Yeah, I've seen this. I've seen this. Pretty funny. Need a new stream overlay? I really do. I need a new stream overlay where, like, over my camera, a little, like, ticker feed says, like, join chat on vosh.gg. That would be so much better than just having it in like a chat like prompt in YouTube chat, you know? This is literally the first time I realized there was a different chat and I've been watching Vosh for over a year, lol. Yeah, see, there you go, right? I've been so lazy when it comes to maintaining channel stuff. Listen, I love streaming. I hate managing the channel. Oh, I hate it. I can't stand it. It's all so anxiety. I've been wanting to change my going live like thumbnail on the live stream videos for years, but I keep thinking, like, if I change it, what if people don't recognize it? And a bunch of my lovely but mentally challenged viewers, they skip over it. Like, they don't read the text. They're just looking for that image, and then the image is different, you know? Maybe if I kept something with the same color palette. It's fine. I think it could be fixed. It doesn't really represent the brand now. I made that back when this was more of a debate channel, you know? This like edgy avatar profile thing. What I'd really like would be like a live screen, like a live stream thumbnail where it's like a CRT TV casting a warm, friendly glow over like a desk or a table, and on the desk or the table there are a bunch of like softly line-arted little things that represent like elements of the stream, like little statues of the cats, and like little like a little clothing thing, you know, like just a bunch of little knickknacks, and it's like, oh, these are all the cute bits from the stream, or like there's an icon that I like or whatever, and like it would be more, I guess, representative of what I consider to be the tone of the stream, which for the most part I don't really consider myself like a edgy internet man, even if I do make edgy jokes. I think the overall tone of the stream is pretty positive, and I think that it would be nice to reflect that in the imagery, you know? Didn't you promise us an emote vote? There's a lot of stuff that I want to do. I mean, it's a bit gay, but that's nice. Yeah, but I'm gay. River. I'm getting stared at over there. They want third breakfast. You're not getting third breakfast, dude. She doesn't understand English. Oh, anyway. You should use AI to make the new channel art. You're right. Wouldn't that be funny? By the way, my nose does feel a lot better now that I'm using the antihistamines and corticosteroids. Hopefully that keeps. Did you sleep well? You know. Who sleeps well? Who does that even? Are you going to commission the art or hold a contest? I will not hold a contest. If I was going to do something like that, I would find an artist that I like and commission them. And I have many artists that I like. Okay. Moving on. Aren't you an artist? Yeah, but I'm not necessarily a good one.
Donald Trump, J.D. Vance, and other MAGA luminaries often
The real threat to Western civilization. This sounds like a title I would put out there.
Claim that the grave danger facing the West is civilizational erasure, which they claim is happening in Europe. Through its dangerous and misguided approach toward identity and immigration, Europe law firms and even private businesses to compel political concessions from independent institutions. That even national security experts...
No, this looks like it's just a recap. I was wondering if this was referring to something new or contemporary. Sorry, what is this? I'm just browsing YouTube vids, that's all. I'm just taking a peep, that's all. No biggie. No biggie. Ain't no thing. But I'm told a chicken wing. I'm more of a chicken breast kind of guy. Because I don't like eating meat off the bone. Spain to grant legal status to 500,000 undocumented immigrants. I saw this. Super based. You know, this was like directly ordained by the king. Spain's left-wing government said it had approved a fast-track plan to allow up to 500,000 undocumented migrants to apply for legal residency status, most of them from Latin America and Africa. Based. One of the largest regularizations seen in Europe in years. Based. What's fueling economic growth in Spain? There's economic growth in Spain? That's news to me.
A boom in construction on the beaches and in the cities. Spain's economy is humming, but it all depends on foreign workers.
They are, in fact, the solution to our labor shortage.
Without support from abroad, we wouldn't have been able to welcome so many tourists.
Whether in Marbella or Madrid, Spain's construction industry is back in full swing. But the days when locals rush to building sites for quick cash are over. Today, new projects rely on migrant workers like Hamid Murray from Morocco. For job seekers, it's a golden opportunity. Hamid and Alejandra from Colombia are part of a growing community.
90% of all new jobs created in the past 2 years have been filled by immigrants.
These jobs have emerged mainly in the fastest growing sectors: tourism, hotels, and restaurants. It's no surprise. In just 2 years, Spain welcomed 20 million more visitors.
Wow.
At the same time, around 600,000 migrants arrived seeking.
Wonder how they're paid? Spain has pretty decent labor protections. I'd like to believe that, you know, I'd like to hope that these people are getting treated well. It's worth keeping in mind that there is like an underlying evil here, right? I am in favor of more immigration, right? Naturalization, whatever else. But I don't like the idea that this work can only be done by immigrants, you know? You can pay locals a fair wage too. I just wish it was done hand in hand. I don't like the idea of whole industries being like relegated to immigrant labor, you know?
Work. And they're finding it in roles many Spaniards no longer want.
Locals are aiming for better paid, less physically demanding jobs with fewer working hours. And that leaves these types of positions to immigrants.
Salvador Gallardo's restaurant on the Mediterranean coast is one example. Just one of the kitchen staff is Spanish. The rest are from North Africa or South America. Together, they're helping Spain's economy grow faster than other EU nations. But what sounds like a success story doesn't benefit everyone.
The country's overall wealth is growing because the population has grown. It's as if we suddenly became a much larger country.
Can't you make the argument that importing immigrants for fulfilling jobs is a neoliberal approach? Listen, people should be able to travel freely and live freely, okay? The reason this keeps happening is because for the most part, these jobs are very difficult and locals don't want to do them. Americans don't want to do agricultural work. Why would they? What American who lives in like LA would want to travel out into the like farms in the middle of the state and be a farmhand? You know, incredibly tough work, incredibly bad pay. The only way to address this, like truly address this, is really, really strict labor standards where everyone gets treated the same, everyone gets paid the same, and everyone gets the same protections when it comes to the mandatory 2-hour siestas that all Spaniards enjoy. Therefore, there's no longer an incentive to go after the lower standards of immigrant labor, you know? Immigrants are willing to work harder, but that doesn't mean they should have to.
But per capita income, which is what actually matters to most people, is still lagging.
Yeah, no money would persuade most people to work like physical jobs. Yeah, unfortunately, and this really does suck. And like, I'm not trying to like prompt all of you to get into the calisthenics the way that I am or whatever, but this is like an actual fact. A lot of people who live as Westoids are just too fat and dumb and weak to do physical labor. Working on a farm, construction work, a lot of people just can't do it. Like physically, they literally can't do it. Whereas a lot of immigrants come from places where they haven't had the opportunity to sit at home on their computer for 12 hours a day. So it's, you know, it's not just Westoids, it's just Americans. There's a bit of an overlap there. The more your economy shifts into like high-tech service work, tech, that kind of stuff, the fewer people there are that are going to be primed for physical labor. But construction will always be physical labor. Yeah, I'd love to shorten my life expectancy by 20 years. Listen, with good labor protections, construction work, factory work, agricultural work, they could all be good jobs. None of these jobs need to destroy your body. We just have accepted standards that we're like, oh yeah, of course they're like that. Well, they don't have to be like that, you know? But yes, if you want to do construction work, you need to be physically strong or you will injure yourself. Like, you can still injure yourself if you're physically strong, but you need to be physically strong and careful and diligent and benefit from workplace protections. And the government needs to strictly regulate that so that, you know, construction firms can't just keep hiring people who are willing to forego their rights in favor of getting burnt out constantly, you know? All of this is possible. All of this can be done. I was a line cook for 10 years. I really loved it, actually, but it took a huge toll on me. 13 to 17 hours a day all week, dehydrated all the time. Yeah, it shouldn't be like that. That's insane. You should not be working 13 to 17 hour days, dehydrated the whole time. Nobody should be working like that, you know? There are so many jobs where we've just accepted that, like, no, it's supposed to suck. It doesn't have to suck. You need to understand a lot of construction workers are genuinely suicidally retarded. They'd rather die at work safely, aka like a pussy. No, but they're encouraged to be like that. That's a work culture that's manufactured by capital. Construction firms incentivize that behavior because they want people, they want the construction workers who are suicidally retarded, who won't care as much about crossing all the T's and dotting all the I's. You know, like, they're working class. Of course they're stupid. We know that, all right? But like, these standards are being facilitated. They're being encouraged. Yeah, you got to force them to take a break.
Ha crecido suficientemente.
One reason is that Spain has long struggled with low productivity. Simply adding more workers isn't enough, especially in construction. Companies are now looking for greater efficiency, also driven by ongoing labor shortages. The plan is to use automation to build more quickly and make the sector more attractive.
Lo que tratamos de hacer es
We're also trying to reach out to groups that don't usually see themselves in our industry, such as young people and women.
So far, most immigrants are still working in lower-skilled jobs, but Spain is becoming increasingly appealing to businesses and skilled professionals. Even Andalusia, long known mainly...
How is the socialist chat this anti-worker? Oh my god. Listen, okay? Every socialist hates the wealthy. That's easy. Are you brave enough to hate the poor too? I am. Join me here in Valhalla. Unfortunately, the peasant culture and brains of the poor are often a big impediment to any kind of meaningful change, you know, in this field. Look at how hard Appalachian coal miners have fought for decades to make sure they have to continue eating shit day in, day out. Every time they're interviewed, they're like, yep, this is just how it is, and my life's ruined, and my kids left me, and won't talk to me, and my wife left me, and everything's ruined, whatever, but, you know, don't you dare give me any of that communist pussy shit about labor rights. Like, you have to... Unfortunately, like, we have many enemies.
As a holiday destination is changing. Take Malaga's technology park. Since the end of the pandemic, more and more international talent has been moving here, including senior managers with international experience.
We employ people from over 28 countries. We chose Malaga because of its quality of life. The climate, food, people, and ecosystem draw international talent.
In the longer run, though, Spain's success could become a challenge. If the economy slows, low-skilled workers would be the first to lose their jobs.
There are just so many presumptions here, you know? At the end of the day, like, you know what we're looking at here, right? You're familiar with the actual, like, theory term, you know? I'm hoping you know, because I'm forgetting it right now. What's it called? The crisis of falling capital, rate of returns. What's the Marxist? Come on, help me out here. I'm blanking. Help me. Tendency of the rate of profit to fall. Like, it's a long-term version of this. Well, it's always a long-term version of this, I suppose. You know, it's an extension of that concept, basically. Construction does not need to be hyper-efficient. Nothing needs to be hyper-efficient. The whole point of making society more efficient and more optimized is that you have excess labor and wealth that you can then direct towards your like, if you are more efficient in your day finishing chores, then you now have more time in your day to dedicate to other stuff. If you're more efficient in one element of your life, that doesn't necessarily mean you are now required to be more efficient in every other element. You're supposed to be giving yourself breathing room here. So why is it that everything has to run by the thinnest margin? For thousands of years, construction has been a field, okay? I'm pretty sure we do not need to, like, run it to the cutting edge now in order for it to thrive. There is an unprecedented demand for new housing in the West, okay? Like, why would we... Well, anyway, I'm glad they're naturalizing a lot of people. That's good. I think that's good. The Catholic Church welcomed the naturalization of the 500,000 illegal immigrants. Nice. Meanwhile, you have the rest of the EU making free travel harder because they're too racist against immigrants. That's nice. They're tightening Schengen rules? Really?
In the past couple of years, the Schengen area, which is supposed to guarantee borderless travel between 29 European countries, has started to look a bit broken. Anxious about immigration and national security, various member states have used emergency procedures to set up semi-permanent borders within the zone, undermining...
It's so cool watching the entirety of the West commit suicide over immigration fears when literally nothing is happening. Like, every single economist, criminologist, and sociologist is like, immigration? Yeah, it's fine. Boosts our numbers, no real harm, it's all good. Meanwhile, everyone in politics is like, we need to literally fucking end it all. We need to point nukes at every neighboring country. We need to spend $50 trillion on border security. Over nothing. Nothing's happening. The Syrian refugee crisis was over 10 years ago. It began over 10 years ago. There's nothing's happening right now. There's not even, like, it's just for no reason whatsoever. Good to know literally all of this was because of Epstein. The modern craze of anti-immigrant fervor did have a lot of its ideological roots originating in Pol. So, you know, the rhetoric of Pol is reflected in the rhetoric of far-right parties all across Europe, from the AFD to the Reform Party. It all stems from that same, like, nexus point of super far-right, irony-poisoned, extremely performatively racist Pol rhetoric, you know? All of it's an Israeli op, man. Super cool. And, you know, uncoincidentally, all these countries are pro-Israel.
The basic principle of Schengen. To address this, the EU is currently rolling out a new digital border management system known as the Entry-Exit System, or EES, which would, in order to better track short-term stays by non-EU nationals, replace traditional passport stamping with biometric data, automated border checks, and digital records of entry and exit. However, the new system is already proving a bit controversial, and even sparked protests this week at borders with neighbouring non-EU countries. So in this video, we'll take a closer look at what's happening in Schengen, explain how the EES works, and why it's already proving controversial.
Cool.
We're in the process of clearing out our store, so the principle of free movement has long been key to the European project. The 1957 Treaty of Rome contained provisions on free movement between member countries, which allowed working Europeans to settle and work in any member state. Then in 1985, 5 of the 10 EEC member states signed an agreement to gradually abolish...
Okay, I have to ask, can somebody give me a quick summary on Pol? Pol is the politics board on 4chan that was created because 4chan always had this, like, neat... internet affected, higher IQ than average, but it hasn't helped you in the real world, gifted kid burnout energy to it that initially trended, if anything, towards a kind of contrarian left-wing new atheism. But over time, the political fighting on the board got more and more loud and obnoxious, so Pol was set up as a containment board. Actually, there was a previous effort to make one, but Pol was set up as a containment board, and as everyone expected, it was immediately just a neo-Nazi board. Like, that was the only point. The only people who went on 4chan to argue politics were neo-Nazis. No one else gave a fuck. It then became the origin point for Gamergate, QAnon, and basically, like, every other far-right internet-based conspiracy / social movement. The modern MAGA movement has its roots there. QAnon, Gamergate, I mean, heavy influence over basically everything that's to come. And it turns out that coincidentally, Moot, the person who ran 4chan, opened poll literally as he met Epstein, which is, you know, a coincidence of basically unparalleled cosmic significance. More likely than not, Epstein and others used it as a deliberate breeding ground for far-right sentiment, as a way of using a culture war to distract people from the fact that everything was being controlled by the same elite cabal of satanic pedophiles. So, you know. Yeah. The open poll, like, while emailing Epstein. It was the same, like, date. It was crazy. Type shit, yeah. Genuine follow-up question, no shade. Why are we focusing on poll? Is it that popular? If you... I'm going to assume you're young. If you are at least 30 years old, then you're aware of how significant poll has been on the past 15 years of Western politics, yeah. What do you think of Alex Jones? Was he a paid false flag? He is not a false flag, but he's literally a paid disinfo agent. Like, Alex Jones right now is a stooge of the administration, and as a consequence, he has now suddenly developed no interest in talking about all the things that he was talking about for years and years, you know?
Borders. A convention signed in 1990 proposed a complete abolition of internal border controls and the establishment of a common visa policy. The agreement entered into force in 1995 and was incorporated into EU law by 1999. Nowadays, the Schengen area encompasses the entirety of the EU, except for Cyprus and Ireland, which have opt-outs, but it also applies to 4 non-EU states: Iceland, Norway, Switzerland, and Liechtenstein. There's also Monaco, San Marino, and the Vatican City, microstates that aren't Schengen members, but
I'm 36, and this is the first I've heard of poll. Look, poll wasn't influential because it had 1 billion users. It was because the particular culture of the board and the fact that it was very easy to manipulate the opinion of the board because everyone is anonymous there means that it became the origin point of a bunch of talking points, memes. Okay, all modern meme culture and rhetoric derives from it, essentially. All the incel, blank maxing, Giga Chad, the Soy Jacks, the Wojacks, the Pepes that people are posting right now in my chat, literally all of it, the same place every time. It's not about how many people were there. It's a derivative of no, that's R9K. R9K and poll are ideologically over. No. This is a distinction without a difference. We're talking about the exact same epicenter here, and we know which one came first. It's the origin point, man. It's the origin point. Pepe was never a hate symbol. Why? Please don't be contrarian with me. This is like a big internet conspiracy thing. I'm aware that the original Pepe was just like a cute comic book. I've talked about that on this channel. You probably heard that from me. The point is that it was incredibly mimetically influential and that it influenced the ideology of the Western right wing. That's all.
Actively operate as if they are. However, in recent years, both the political project of Schengen and the system of open borders itself has been under increasing pressure. In fact, since the refugee crisis of September 2015, countries have reintroduced border checks at the EU's internal borders more than 400 times. For context, while Schengen is supposed to operate as a zone of free movement for people, countries are allowed...
I remember when 4chan ruined YTMND with fucking Moonman. Remember when the Department of Homeland Security put Moonman in one of their propaganda videos? It's not subtle, okay? The ideological origins of the modern right wing are not subtle. It's not like a big, you know, complicated network of connections. It's like a pretty straight one-to-one.
To introduce temporary internal border controls as a last resort measure if the country deems it necessary to protect...
Mind saying thinking Vosh is wrong here by not recognizing B as the real patient zero? No, because B was contrarian and not super politically aligned before poll really took off. By becoming the containment board, which it wasn't, by the way, poll became like the force that shifted all of 4chan to the right. That was the whole point. They put up a signal flare and they made part of 4chan like openly, unambiguously right wing, which then infected every other board. Yeah, I was on 4chan in high school, okay? I promise you that back in like 2009 or whatever, shit was not like that. Like, on B, before the introduction of poll and the shift of 4chan, you were just as likely to find, like, everyone was using slurs, sure, but in terms of committed political positions, for the most part, the general tendency was just anti-authority. It used to be very, 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 very different. Poll was the beginning of the shift for 4chan's, like, broader influence to be distinctly right-wing, and then later its overlap with the entire, like, right-wing lexicon, you know? All right, anyway, sorry, I have no idea what this has to do with Europe. Let's just finish this bit up.
Its national security. Amid pressure from hard-right upstarts, multiple Western European governments, including Germany, Denmark, France, Italy, the Netherlands, Norway, Poland, Slovenia, and Sweden, have been repeatedly introducing and reintroducing these measures, creating a sort of semi-permanent border within Schengen. The main reason cited is the increased threat of irregular immigration, but there are also concerns about hybrid threats from Russia and Belarus, high levels of asylum applications, increased threat of organized crime, smuggling, and infiltrated terror migrant networks.
I love committing national suicide. I think people don't understand that prior to poll, the energy on 4chan was more average South Park viewer than Nazi bunker. Yeah, but now that time is gone. That was literally 15 years ago. Like, that age of the internet is, to many people, not even a distant memory.
Borders. However, not everyone's too happy with these new rules. First, there are understandable concerns over the EES's use of personal data and reliance on a single centralized database with everyone's biometric data. Second, the rollout itself, which has been delayed for years, hasn't been too smooth, with passengers and industry leaders complaining about hours-long queues and delays caused by these new checks. Some of Europe's busiest airports have even reported waits as long as 3 hours during peak travel times. These delays have meant some border crossings have actually had to revert to manual stamping, and it's not clear whether all border crossings will have the operational capacity to run smoothly by mid-April. But third, and perhaps most importantly, the new rules have created serious difficulties for non-EU nationals who work as cross-border workers within the Schengen area. For example, truck drivers from Western Balkan countries regularly cross Schengen borders to deliver goods to the EU. Stricter enforcement of the 90 days within a 180-day period rule means that these drivers will use up their permitted stay much more quickly, leaving them without work. Any driver who overstays risks being classified as an illegal worker and may face detention or deportation. In fact, dozens have already been detained and deported over the past year. In response, this week, truck drivers across Serbia, Bosnia and Herzegovina, Montenegro, and North Macedonia have blocked freight terminals.
Just for context, Belarusians and Russians import people from the Middle East and push them up against the Polish border at gunpoint. Okay.
At border crossings with neighbouring Schengen countries, demanding special status and recognition of their work as legal. They warn that without changes, Balkan transport companies could face severe driver shortages by mid-April, which they argue would lead to a complete collapse of the supply chain. Now, if you stuck around this long, chances are you're passionate about learning and bettering yourself.
Okay, I'm sorry, I don't know. It's insane to me that, like, even years and years and years and years after the Syrian refugee crisis, Europeans are only quadrupling down on this. It's a deliberate effort to flood Europe with migrants and strengthen nativist sentiment. It's cool how the entirety of Western political discourse has been orchestrated by Israel and Russia, and that's it. You know, like, was there ever any room for Europeans or Americans in that? Is it all just foreign interference, man? Oh my God. Russia and the Israel of Europe, lol. Russia and Israel are very, very similar countries. A lot of Russians are Israeli. Spiritually, all are. A high-profile case. 5-year-old Liam Conejo Ramos and father returned to Minnesota from ICE facility in Texas. Released following a judge's order. Catherine Schneider, a spokesperson for the Democratic congressman, confirmed the two had arrived home. She said Castro picked them up from Dilley on Saturday night, escorted them home on Sunday to Minnesota. In a statement, Tricia McLaughlin said Immigration and Customs Enforcement did not target or arrest Liam Conejo Ramos, and that his mother refused to take him after his father's apprehension. His father told officers he wanted Liam to be with him, she said. In his order granting the release, U.S. District Judge Fred Bieri blasted the administration, writing, "The case has its genesis in the ill-conceived and incompetently implemented government pursuit of daily deportation quotas, apparently even if it requires traumatizing children." Neighbors and school officials say the federal immigration officers used the preschooler as bait by telling him to knock on the door to his house so that his mother would answer. The DHS has called that description of events an abject lie, as if they can be trusted. I feel like if you're going to use a 5-year-old as bait to arrest his father and then deport him down to Texas, you shouldn't do so while he's wearing like a blue bunny hat and Spider-Man clothes, you know? You've got to find a less sympathetic looking 5-year-old. You have to find a more evil looking 5-year-old than the one with the cute bunny hat. This is like comically evil. Like, seriously. Find a 5-year-old wearing a balaclava or something. They also claim a man with a crushed skull ran into a wall like a fucking cartoon. ICE claims that immigrant shattered his skull running into wall. I love how this is, I love the title's phrasing. That immigrant, like you're talking to a guy who was just around the corner. Yeah, he said that guy just hit his head on the wall really hard, ran into it, you know? Yeah, you know, it's the guy. Yeah, that. It was laughable if there was something to laugh about, said one of the nurses. There was no way this person ran headfirst into a wall. Injuries appear inconsistent with ICE account? Really? Yeah. Well, I hope they keep it up, man. They're moving the needle. What more can I say? What more do you, like, what else can you... What more can you say about this stuff? Like, if they're going to be Satan, I guess I'm glad they're doing it openly. I don't know what else you're supposed to get from it. Real acceleration hours? Well, I don't know what the alternative is, man. I don't know what the alternative is. ICE is using former factory towns as detention facilities throughout the Americas. Yeah, we have a term for these. What were once factory towns became prison towns, and now deportation hubs. Where is this from? Equator.org. I'm not familiar with this news site, if it is a news site. From Minnesota to Venezuela, Trump is creating a borderless American power. Oh, this writer's got pinions. Log here or sign up for free. I think we might have to find a different source for this information. What is that map? It's an interesting one. It's made to make you think, okay? ICE, factory towns, warehouses. I know what underlying information they're referring to. ICE buys warehouses for mass detention network, rattling locals. Move to acquire industrial buildings in at least 8 states. DHS brought 2 this month, one in Maryland for $102 million and another in Arizona for $70 million. Man, they're really acting like they're still going to be around forever. Huh? They need concentration camps. The big bottleneck right now is that no matter how many people they arrest, there is a limit to how rapidly you can deport people. They need, look at this, 920,000 square foot warehouse. Do you have any idea how many tents you could fit in here? At least 10. Warehouse in Oklahoma City hold up to 1,500 people, a little more than a mile from an elementary school and a Pentecostal church. Little more than a mile from an elementary school and a Pentecostal church. Legally distinct from concentration camps? Concentration camp isn't a legal term, it's a political one. And these are not politically distinct from concentration camps. These are just concentration camps. There's no distinction. A third location, previously an auto parts distribution center in Chester, New York, became so unbearably hot during summer months that 2 people who used to work there said it was akin to being stuck inside an aluminum shed. Lovely.
No ice, no fear! Get ice out of here!
What is being proposed in Chester is up to 8,000 people to be housed in what is currently an old, dilapidated warehouse for Pep Boys auto parts. About the last place you would ever think or want to have any human being be housed. And there's been no details at all shared about what work needs to be done or would be done to make this even somewhat habitable for humans, but there's no insulation, there's not enough utilities, water, sewer. ICE literally described it themselves as think of Amazon Prime, but for human beings, which
that is true. They were proud of that one. The reason why they're going for warehouses, by the way, when traditionally immigration detention centers have to at least some extent been open air, at least near the border, is because they want to hide the rapes and the murders, which there have been several of even this year, by the way. Probably far more than we're aware of. You know, over 1,000 people disappeared from Alligator Alcatraz. They've been delisted from the DHS's website. They were there, and now they're not, and no one knows where they are, and they're not even officially registered. For all we know, they're in the Everglades.
Which is just a disgusting way to talk about treating humans as if they're animals or packages.
Is this what we want in Chester? No! Is this what Orange County stands for? No!
Oklahoma City managed to scare the landowners into not selling to ICE. Well, that's based. That's pretty based.
Is this what the Hudson Valley stands for? No! Is this what New York stands for?
No! So we first learned about this mass detention warehouse, is what I've been calling it, in December. Sort of a bomb went off metaphorically in the community, and people were like, oh my God, what is going on? At every level of government, village, town, county, state, federal, no one had heard anything from the Trump administration on this at any level. A lot of the Republican opposition to this locally has been around that. A pretty egregious example of the Trump administration doing whatever the heck they want with no regard for a local community whatsoever.
Or like human rights, you know, like the people being detained there. We're fighting like hell to stop the sale of a warehouse down here in Kansas City. During the protest on Friday, they announced the owner of the property's phone number to the crowd, and we all called/texted. Nice. Have there been many leaks from ICE detention centers? Not really. Nobody's allowed in there. Like, legally, Congress people are allowed to go there, but Democrats don't flex that power because they're weak and, you know, collaborationist. Remember, every congressperson has the absolute legal right to observe any federal facility. And they are being, when they try to, they're being denied permission. But they haven't really been trying, you know? They don't push. I thought a judge ruled they're not allowed in. Could you provide that to me? The congressional right of observation is pretty powerful. I would be very surprised if a judge ruled that they were not allowed in. Mixed reaction to warehouse purchased by ICE in the West Valley.
10, mixed reaction in the West Valley tonight over a massive warehouse in Surprise that ICE could turn into a makeshift detention facility.
Questions remain about how the facility might be used and when it could open, but the Washington Post reports that the facility will be used to house 1,500 detainees.
12 News journalist Kyle Simchuk went out to that facility and spoke to those who live nearby.
All throughout the evening, we've seen people driving through in cars, some on bikes, coming to take a look at this new warehouse ICE purchased for $70 million. And tonight, there's no shortage
What's the point of doing this if you're not actually on location? You know?
Opinions about it. It's the size of 7 football fields. ICE hasn't said how it'll be used, but for people living near Dysart Road and Cactus Road, the purchase is raising questions.
As long as it's like secure.
Brittany Thie lives less than 1,000 feet from the warehouse.
The things that have occurred are sad and unfortunate, but like, I'm not against it. I'm not 100% in support of it.
Her main concern, whether the facility
Thank you, median voter.
will attract crowds of protesters.
If it gets noisy, that's probably going to be an issue for the neighborhood. We all have kids.
Oh, that's the issue. Not Auschwitz-Birkenau being built like right next to your front door, but if like it would be really inconvenient if Soviet if the Red Army moved in and like liberated it. That would be like super annoying. Gotcha. Okay, gotcha. All right, okay, cool. The ovens are too stinky, yeah.
Kids or pets, my dogs are going to go nuts.
But for Marcus Curley, a Native American who lives nearby, this facility represents something more personal.
They're right down from where I live.
He now carries personal documents, including his birth certificate, at all times.
I don't want to end up in jail. Our whole family member. We all went to Staples, got all our records, yep. So we're prepared just in case.
Republican state legislators from the area are backing the purchase. Surprise Representative Nick Cupper said, quote, "If ICE is able to legally run a detention center and enforce immigration laws, I am fully supportive." Republican Majority Leader John Kavanaugh called it, quote, "a great idea because it'll improve enforcement and offer a modern, air-conditioned space for those awaiting deportation or a due process hearing."
Mixed reaction to warehouse purchased by 12 News. Is this the mixed reaction we're looking at?
I'm really
Is the mixed reaction in the room with us right now?
That I'm hearing from Republicans in the area who are excited about having such a massive facility housing the, quote, worst of the worst right in their backyard.
The city of Surprise says it was not notified about the purchase, and federal projects are not subject to local zoning regulations. Cool. ICE has not responded to questions from 12 News about whether the warehouse will be used as a detention center or when operations might begin. And there is a protest planned for tomorrow morning here in Surprise at Bell Road and Civic Center Drive. That begins at 9 a.m., and it will focus on this new facility.
God, I hate these fucking people. Oh, there's a whole lot of nothing. Yeah, I guess I expected from the mixed reaction news title that they were going to, like, I don't know. The closest thing we had to a mixed reaction here was the median voter lady being like, I don't like the smell of the ovens. That might be inconvenient if, like, the wind blows the cremation fumes in my direction. That was the closest we got, really. Article is a map of all the warehouses they've bought. Neat. I just fucking refuse to believe there's nothing Congress can do here, man. Nobody linked me, by the way, any article about a judge saying that congressmen cannot use their power of oversight to go into these federal facilities. They're just refusing to. They just don't want to. The sale in VA was canceled? Yeah. Somebody said earlier. As of 2 days ago as well. Nice. The DHS did issue a memo saying congressmen don't have that right, and they are wrong. It does not matter if they issue that. There is no legally, that's just, that DHS memo has all the weight of a Trump tweet. It means literally nothing. Any congressperson can go to any federal facility and force their way in if they want to. They have the legal right. If they get arrested for it, good, take it to court. They have a legal right to be there. They have they are as legally entitled to enter those properties as you are your own home. And if somebody stops you from doing that, you can get in anyway. If he wants to take you to court over assault, that's great. Have them explain to the judge why they were keeping you out of your own home. I heard a judge affirm that ICE can ask 2 weeks' notice of congressional reps. Can ask is not the same as they have to respect it. What happened with the cases brought against the reps to win it anyway? Nothing. Because there's nothing they can do once it enters the courts. Oh, sorry, that made me grumpy. Hello. Hold on, this is actually important. You know, we're coming up on another big government shutdown moment because pending the weekend, there's no way for the House to go back and verify the information or the bill that put through the Senate. It'll be at least a couple days shutdown. We'll see how long it lasts.
This Sunday, backlash. President Trump's border czar takes charge in Minneapolis.
I'm not here because the federal government has carried this mission out perfectly.
We'll do what.
That's great. Well done. Thank you.
We can.
Would not allow that to happen. But, you know, I tip my hat to everybody, appropriators in both parties who got this together. After the Senate acted over the weekend, we will now have 11 of 12 separate appropriations bills approved by both chambers. Because they modified our package, they've sent it over.
That's great. Fuck off before I modify your package further. Ro Khanna.
The efforts.
Yeah. Congressman Khanna, welcome back to Meet the Press.
Good morning, Kristen.
Thank you so much for being here. I do want to dive right in and start with this trove of Epstein files that were released. Of course, you and Congressman Massey were behind the push to have these files released. The deal.
God bless you, Mr. Khanna. God bless you, Massey. Thank you both very, very much. Without you, this all wouldn't be happening.
DOJ says it's withholding large portions to protect survivors, to protect security. Has the Justice Department fully complied with the law, Congressman?
No, they haven't. They've released, at best, half the documents. But even those shock the conscience of this country. I mean, you have some of the most wealthy individuals, tech leaders, finance leaders, politicians, all implicated in some way, having emails about wanting to go to Epstein's island, knowing that Epstein was a pedophile. It's frankly one of the largest scandals, in my view, in our country's history, and there is a demand for elite.
Probably the biggest. I cannot think of any scandal, conspiracy, or other, you know, act or acts of corruption in American history that come even remotely close, not with even like a order of magnitude of what the Epstein affair represents.
Accountability. But the survivors' lawyers that I've talked to have said that the survivors are still upset. They're upset.
Iran-Contra, maybe? Not even remotely close. If an Iran-Contra style controversy takes place every day in this admin.
Upset that many of their names accidentally came out without redactions, and they want to make sure the rest of the files come out.
You're talking about some of those big names being implicated. Are you suggesting that
the Teapot Dome scandal? I'm pretty sure Trump did the Teapot Dome scandal like 2 days ago, and it's not even making news. Like, listen to this, okay? Just the Teapot Dome scandal, okay? Corruption involving the administration of Warren G. Harding. The Interior Secretary leased petroleum reserves designated for the Navy at Teapot Dome in Wyoming, as well as 2 locations in California, to private oil company at low rates without competitive bidding. It was just no-bid contracts? Dog, our government does that every day. That's not even like a Trump. That doesn't rise to the level of Trump. That was a Tuesday under the fucking Bush administration. That's like nothing today. For the kind of shit that the Trump administration is doing, the founding fathers would have had to invent new kinds of methods of execution. Like the degrees of treason that are happening. The Teapot Dome scandal's legal now. It unironically is. No bid contracts to oil and gas companies? That's literally like day-to-day shit, you know?
there should be more charges filed? Because at this point in time, no new charges have been filed against anyone.
I do think the prosecution needs to look at seriously bringing charges, but there are two different issues here, Kristen. There's some people who committed crimes, and that needs to be looked at. And we need to understand who were some of the associates.
It was to his own family. You're never going to guess what the Trump admin has been doing lately.
Jeffrey Epstein, those names haven't come out. In fact, they were covered up. We need to understand who may have abused or raped underage girls. But then there's a broader issue, and that is that there are rich and powerful people who may not have committed a crime, but who are emailing Jeffrey Epstein well after he's a pedophile, talking about going to his island, talking about wanting to participate in wild parties. And the American people are asking, how are rich and powerful people living in this country? What moral code are they living by? Some of those revelations are deeply disturbing.
Well, let me ask you about what comes next from your perspective. You've threatened contempt charges and even impeachment for Attorney General.
Notice Ro Khanna actually says the words pedo and rape, unlike establishment Dems. Yeah, the Dems will only ever rise to the level of, like, you know, allegations of criminal sexual behavior or you know, child sexual behavior. Like they're always using like the terms that a therapist would use, right? That distanced language, as opposed to just open contempt, which is the only way anyone should feel about all of this.
Pam Bondi, and I wonder, are you at a point where you are prepared to move forward with contempt and impeachment charges against the Attorney General?
Well, as you know, Kristen, Thomas Massie and I brought this up in middle of December. We still have not moved on it because we are trying to give the Justice Department some benefit of the doubt. They did do a release that was significant. I mean, this is the most documents that we have seen released so far in history, but it is not good enough. And so Thomas Massie and I have requested a meeting with the Deputy Attorney General. He said he's open to meeting with members of Congress. He's said he's open to explaining why the redactions were done. So I hope that we will have a meeting. If we don't get the remaining files, if we do not get the remaining 302 forms, the remaining prosecution memo from 2019, and if the survivors are not happy, then Thomas Massie and I are prepared to move on impeachment or contempt.
Okay, well, let me ask you about another aspect of this. Former President Bill Clinton, who is named in the Epstein files, and former Secretary of State Hillary Clinton have refused to comply with the House subpoenas in the Epstein investigation. We should note nearly half of your Democratic colleagues in the Oversight Committee voted to hold the former president in contempt. As a result, you voted no, Congressman. I do want to set aside whether you think the subpoenas are fair. Do you think anyone has the right to ignore a congressional subpoena?
No, I do not. And that's why I voted for civil contempt. And I've also said that President Clinton should come before the committee, but he should come after all the files have been released, and he should come in conjunction with Donald Trump. But it's premature, in my view, to hold him in criminal contempt.
All right, let's turn to the partial government shutdown that
The Clinton subpoena is like massive cope on the part of Republicans who are desperate to turn this into anything but what it is, which is Donald Trump and Jeffrey Epstein were best friends for years and raped lots of children together and murdered them and ate their remains and so on and so on, you know. And they did it gleefully, and that everyone Epstein is affiliated with is like what was that one tweet? This administration is basically just an Epstein after party. A significant number of the people in the current administration were friends with Epstein. It's not just Trump. It's like the whole fucking thing. There are so many of them at every level. They want to bring Bill Clinton in. Sure, I don't give a fuck if Bill Clinton spends the rest of his short, you know, life, what remains of it, in jail. But they're you know, the fact that they won't bring Trump to testify. The argument right now from the Republicans is that you actually can't bring a president in to testify. Congress doesn't have the authority. That's their argument. I think that on its own should be enough to have them all tried for treason. Saying Congress doesn't have the authority to subpoena the president to investigate illegal behavior, that's, as far as I'm concerned, that's treason.
Started this weekend. Democrats did not get the DHS reforms that you all were asking for. You got 2 weeks to negotiate. There will be, it's expected, a House vote on Monday to reopen the government. Where do you stand right now, Congressman? Will you be voting yes to reopen the government?
I'm not just a no, I'm a firm no, and I'm going to advocate with colleagues that they vote no.
Good.
Look, Bernie Sanders introduced an amendment, and he said, let's repeal the additional $75 billion that ICE has. That's triple the budget. And that amendment, every single Democrat voted for it. It was not included in the package. I just don't see how in good conscience Democrats can vote for continuing ICE funding when they're killing American citizens, when there's no provision to repeal the tripling of the budget. I hope my colleagues...
He really might be the only guy I would be willing to vote for the presidential ticket in 2028 right now.
Will say no.
But you're prepared to shut down the government for an extended period of time after the longest government shutdown in U.S. history over this, Congressman?
Yes.
Well, we can bracket the ICE funding. We can open the remaining parts of government. There are a lot of other parts of government that we can fund. The ICE issue should be separated. And certainly, I don't think we can be giving an additional dollar to an agency that is patrolling the streets of not just immigrants, American citizens. I was in Minneapolis. People, third and fourth generation Minnesotans, were talking about tyranny. They were talking about ICE agents going to bookstores. They were talking about ICE agents following them to church. What is going on in our country is a violation of the First, Second, and Fourth Amendments. I just, in good conscience, cannot vote to give more money to ICE agents as they're violating our constitutional rights.
All right, you have joined...
Or at all. Like, he doesn't go nearly far enough. Or at all. Obviously, you know, they shouldn't get funding at all. They shouldn't exist. They shouldn't exist, and every single member of their organization needs to be arrested.
More than 80% of House Democrats in calling for the impeachment of Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem over her handling of Minneapolis if she doesn't resign first. Some of your colleagues, including Senator Gary Peters, saying that impeaching Noem actually won't address the root of the problem. So let me put that question to you. How does impeaching Secretary Noem address the real root causes here?
Because it goes after elite impunity.
The current Senate funding bill that will be voted on Monday in House is only for funding everything other than ICE. Yeah. But like, as he's pointed out, there are no provisions being argued for by Democrats to introduce anything that would cut the enormous funding that has already been directed to ICE. You know, we need to be aggressive, man. How are we not being aggressive when right now the special elections that are taking place show like a 30-point flip towards us? Like, if the momentum right now is on our side, we have a lot of grace. We should be fucking, like, taking charge, you know?
I'm tired of a country where the powerful don't have to take consequences. I mean, Secretary Noem not just turned a blind eye as Alex Petrie was killed. They didn't talk about the facts after it. They insulted Alex.
Wait, but he just mentioned every single Senate Dem voted to cut all the new funding from the 2025 budget. I believe he's referring to the additional funding, but not the underlying, like, $70 billion that were allocated to ICE. not the additional funding. There's like multiple packages of additional funding that have been directed towards ICE, and they're not voting in favor of the current increase, but there were previous increases that need to be removed, or ICE will just be funded indefinitely.
Pretty's death, to the point that read the parent statements, as many of your viewers have. They're outraged that their 37-year-old nurse is...
No, the Bernie amendment is the $75 billion from the big beautiful bill clawback. But that hasn't been put forward, or that hasn't gone through. They're not holding the government hostage until that goes through. All Dems voted for that, but it didn't go through, but they're still going to vote to reopen the government, which is the point, right? Like, the leverage they're using here is threatening to keep the government closed.
Killed, and then their son is killed, and then the government is insulting their son. There has to be accountability. Do I think impeaching Kristi Noem is going to solve the issue of ICE? No, but it's going to send a signal that you can't wield power without a check in this country, and that's what we have with ICE agents, smashing windows, following people to churches.
Congressman, just finally, the Trump administration requested voter rolls from 24 states and the District of Columbia, and this week, as you know, sent FBI agents to execute a search warrant at an election center in Georgia. Do you have confidence that the 2026 midterm elections will be free and fair?
I have confidence we will have an election. I believe they will use every tool in their toolbox to try to interfere with it. But I believe that the American people will overcome it. We'll overcome it by having a battalion of lawyers at the polls, like we did when we passed Proposition 50 in my...
I wish his rhetoric was more aggressive here, too, you know? I wish, like, he needs to say, like, they will attempt to end our democracy, but they are weak, and so they will fail. You know, too big to rig. Like, you have to learn from the Republicans here. It's not enough merely to say, they'll try, but we'll succeed. Like, you have to use emphatic, normative terms. You have to reaffirm that this is a battle spiritually between good and evil, not merely just like, well, who's going to prevail in this technocracy off.
State in California, like we did in New Jersey and Virginia when Mikey Sherrill and Abigail Spanberger won. We will overcome it by having governors make sure the law is followed, and by just having a huge turnout. But we should be under no illusion. They will use every tool to try to make it hard because they know they're losing the public support.
All right. Congressman Ro Khanna, thank you so much for joining us this morning.
Thank you, Kristen.
And when we come back, how will President Trump's immigration crackdown impact the midterms? The panel.
Basically, splitting the DHS funding off means they can just not pass funding it indefinitely, but it already has passed funding. The massive, like, ICE wave of funding already went through, did it not? Because they failed to rescind it. So I was like, they should use the government shutdown as leverage. It hasn't, no. Masaigu, I can't tell if you're confusing me or if I'm confusing you, but I'm not arguing with you on this. The package that was sent to the House has no ICE funding? No, I know that. I'm talking about the previous ICE funding from the big beautiful bill. The like 70 bill or whatever it was. Yeah, 75 billion. That was this bill, wasn't it? No, the big beautiful bill passed last year. The big beautiful bill gave a budget to ICE larger than basically every military on Earth. Just 10 years ago, the annual budget for ICE was less than $6 billion. They now have $85 billion at their disposal. A meteoric spike in their budget thanks to the one big beautiful bill. Thank you, Schumer. No, wait, was that Schumer? Oh, right. Schumer was the one who bravely changed the name of the big beautiful bill. That was right. That was right. They didn't need 60 votes in the Senate. Yes, Subs and Soda, I did. Sorry. God, look at this. That money has to be appropriated and allocated in the currently discussed bill, which is being split off and blocked. Can't it still be used even without the specific allocation? I would need to know more about that then. The whole point of CR is that it frees funding for budgeted programs. They need it to pass with this in there for DHS to use that money. If DHS funding isn't put into CR, they won't have their funds released, can't operate. Okay. I didn't know that. So why can't we just hold the government hostage by keeping it shut down? I mean, I know why, because the Democrats are weak, but I do want that. No, the money would literally just sit there in the Treasury. Also, Vosh, it's because the Dems are weak. Okay, gotcha. My prediction is they'll cave again. I don't even think they're going to cave. I'm pretty sure the Democrats are just going to let this go through. They could theoretically keep the DHS shut down by not passing the DHS-specific CR. Well, they would still have the allocated funding like this block. Has that already dried up? They might have burnt through it already, right? Have they already burnt through it? I guess they have been like overspending like crazy over the past year. Maybe they already burnt through the obligated for a specific purpose chunk of the budget that had previously been allocated, and now they're like waiting to have this stuff drip down into their budget. Yeah, those warehouses can't be cheap. That money is gone. But they passed 2 weeks of funding for ICE. How much money did it end up being? Hold on. Senate bill, 2 weeks of ICE funding. Hundreds of millions, I think. Vosh, I work for the Department of Defense. I don't want to be furloughed again. I'm really, really, really sorry. Just know that your potential suffering does the world good. Five regular appropriation bills, 2 week stopgap measure for the DHS, but the legislation won't become law before parts of the government shut down at midnight. Senators managed to save the funding package by negotiating a last-minute deal with the White House to split off the Homeland Security Appropriations Bill from the 5 other spending measures. So why would we not just shut down the government? Like, does splitting this off now not just mean that we no longer have the leverage of shutting down the government? That was the White House caving? I just don't understand what we could ever get done here without shutting down the government. It's the only power they have, because that would create pressure to reopen government. But that's pressure that would look bad for the Republicans. Like, they were hurting before the Democrats conceded. If they just don't fund DHS, there's no pressure to fund DHS. But the DHS will get funded because now there's no incentive for the Republicans to push because it's the government's not on the line. Like, we've killed leverage in both directions. Dems can still block it indefinitely. Yeah, but they won't. They won't, right? There's no, so you're saying like in 2 weeks, DHS will run out of funding, correct? They've only been given a 2-week like spending window. So once the 2 weeks are up, what's going to happen? They're just going to let the DHS not have money? There's no way. That's the pressure on the GOP. Then why would the White House cave on this? And why would the funding package only pass with a minority of Democrats voting in favor of it? A majority of Democrats here clearly favor not going forward with this. Splitting out the court to take action to rate in ICE and CBP. Apparently Johnson's dragging out further. No quick House vote to end partial shutdown and blames Democrats for their ICE demands, of course. Few days before a government funding package comes over. So he's deliberately delaying the House vote on the amended Senate package because he wants to punish people for removing the DHS funding. Doesn't this just fuck over ICE, though? I feel like I'm missing an element of this because, in my opinion, there is no version of this where ICE doesn't get their funding. There's literally no timeline where everyone in ICE just gets told they're not getting their paychecks next week. There has to be some cuck element to it. Rule number 1 of the Democrats maneuvering in Congress is that they're not doing something good. They're incapable of doing good. If you presume that, you have to look for the missing angle. There's some way for them to do nothing. Some pathway to spinelessness. What's clear is the DHS needs to be drastically reformed. Reformed. Masks should come off. Judicial warrants should be required, consistent with the Constitution, in our view, before What the fuck, man? Judicial warrants should absolutely be required, consistent with the Constitution, in our view. That's already the law. Incredible, these people. Republicans can just break the, and Democrats will be like, well, we don't think it should be like that. We should change the law to be what it already is. There's no way the Democrats actually do anything here. They're going to pass DHS funding off of like they're going to off of nothing. You know? It'll be like, yeah, we'll get them to stop wearing masks, maybe. We'll get them to announce their presence. Just some nothing bit. Always bet on nothing. Actually, now I want to hear from Mike Johnson. Hold on.
Are you confident that the government will reopen on Monday with Republican votes? Do you have enough Republican support?
Well, let's say I'm confident that we'll do it at least by Tuesday. We have a logistical challenge of getting everyone in town, and because of the conversation I had with Hakeem Jeffries, I know that we've got to pass a rule and probably do this mostly on our own. I think that's very unfortunate. Here's what's happened. You know, the House and Senate appropriators worked very well together, bicameral, bipartisan, committee-led process, especially after the 43-day shutdown, the longest in U.S. history last fall. No one wanted to put that pain on the American people again. The Democrats forced it. We were insistent that we would not allow that to happen. But, you know, I tip my hat to everybody, appropriators in both parties who got this together. After the Senate acted over the weekend, we will now have 11 of 12 separate appropriations bills approved by both chambers. Because they modified our package, they've sent it over a little differently, which means we've got to address the bills again. So they're going to separate the Department of Homeland Security bill. Our intention is by Tuesday to fund all agencies of the federal government except for that one, and then we'll have 2 weeks of good faith negotiations to figure it out.
And just bottom line, you think you have enough Republican votes to reopen the government by Tuesday?
Yeah, because Republicans are going to do the responsible thing and fund the government. They're playing.
But you have a razor-thin margin. That's what I'm getting at.
I have a one-vote margin, yes, for the rest of 2026. But we're going to demonstrate once again that this is the party that takes governing seriously. The Democrats play games with this, and I think it's very unfortunate because what they're doing is they're jeopardizing services to the American people. When you're talking about the Department of Homeland Security, remember what's included in that. You have TSA agents for the airports. You have the Coast Guard. You have FEMA. We're in the middle of a winter storm disaster on the East Coast. We can't play games with this.
So let's talk about what Democrats are demanding as a part of this. They want to see changes to DHS, to ICE, in the wake of the deaths of those 2 Americans in Minneapolis. The changes they're asking for include an end to roving patrols, no more face masks, mandatory body cameras, and judicial.
None of this is enforceable. None of this is enforceable, man. For one, it's not sufficient. And for two, what happens if they just ignore you? What are you going to do? Arrest them? What do you do? Like, seriously, what are you getting from this? An official DHS memo saying, hey, please follow the law? What are the legal consequences of disobeying this? What if they put on a mask? What happens then? What happens if they put on a mask? They're already breaking the law. Why would we assume any of this is going to change anything? Always assume the Democrats will do nothing.
Warrant requirements. Given what has been happening on the ground in Minneapolis, Mr. Speaker, do you support any or all of those changes?
Listen, there's been tragedies in Minnesota and in Minneapolis in particular, brought about in large measure by the circumstances on the ground. You have the governor and local officials there, in some cases inciting violence. They're encouraging citizens
Democrats
to disrupt the operations of law enforcement, and it sets up a dangerous situation.
But they're calling for peaceful protests.
Well, they are, but they're also saying to resist. They're also saying to, you know, they're doxing the agents of ICE, the Immigration and Customs Enforcement. And so when you're talking about masking, the reason that ICE agents wear masks is to protect their own identities and protect their own families. And in some circumstances, they've had a price put on their heads effectively by local officials, and that's what's created the dangerous conditions.
But these state and local officials respectfully didn't pull the triggers that left these 2 Americans dead. President Trump has even acknowledged that ICE has made mistakes. Do you think within that context, any changes need to be made to ICE and the way it's operating on the ground?
Look, I think President Trump was right to acknowledge that. I think he's operating in good faith. He said he wanted to turn the temperature down. He put Tom Homan in charge there. He was right to deputize him over that situation. He has 40 years experience in Border Patrol and in these issues. So I think that this is going to happen, but we need good faith on both sides. Some of these conditions and requests that they've made are obviously reasonable and should happen, but others are going to require a lot more negotiation.
And you'll support some of those that you say are reasonable?
Yes. In fact, I was in the Oval Office with the president a few days ago when he was on the phone with Leader Schumer, and they agreed, and Tom Homan was on the other line. And they agreed to most of those conditions. But the mask, for example, the additional judicial requirement for a warrant would be a whole other layer of effectively bureaucracy. Remember, the immigration judges have already issued warrants, and that's what the ICE officials are acting upon. So there's a lot of details in this. We could get deep in the weeds, but we will do that over the next 2 weeks. And I hope that Democrats will be in good faith, as Republicans are, to try to bring some order to all this.
Are there any proposed changes you wouldn't agree with? They're demanding also roving patrols and body cameras be worn by ICE officials?
I think even Tom Homan has acknowledged both of those things are acceptable and what he was intending to do already. So I think we're on the path to get agreement, and I really hope that everybody will come to the table in good faith. That's what's going to be required here.
Let me zoom out and ask you about Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem. As you know, there's been a lot of focus on her hours after Alex Preddy was killed. Secretary Noem accused him of being a, quote, domestic terrorist before the investigation had been done. She said he had brandished a gun at agents, which videos and DHS itself later contradicted. Do you think the Department of Homeland Security needs new leadership, Mr. Speaker?
Look, I think...
I don't know what the fuck the point is of asking him questions like this, as if we don't already know what he's going to say. Jesus Christ.
Democrats who don't sound like they're going to move at all. They're talking about violations of constitutional rights, people being disappeared, saying that ICE is not operating within the law. They don't sound like they're going to be ready to cave on some of these things. They want masks off of these ICE agents. They want them wearing ID that tells exactly who they are. I mean, are those the kinds of things that you think any of your members are going to cave on?
Well, those two things are conditions that would create further danger. I mean, Tom Homan told...
Is anyone else outraged that the Democrats have put themselves in a position where they actually do have leverage, and not only have they declined to turn this into a big government shutdown spectacle, they have also now set the line at, well, the Gestapo agents need to not wear masks. And all of this is totally unenforceable. Like, all of this, none of this is legally actionable. There is literally nothing they're advocating for here that would lead to, if those rules are violated, ICE agents getting arrested.
Leader Schumer himself, I was part of the conversation in the Oval Office a few days ago. He said that's one of the demands that I'm not going to be able to implement. I have to protect my officers. And when you have people doxing them and targeting them, of course we don't want their personal identification out there on the streets. And so we've got to work through this in a meaningful way, in a thoughtful way that comports with common sense. We need to turn down the volume, decrease the danger, and taking the masks off and putting their names and addresses on their uniforms.
You don't think there are House GOP votes for those kinds of things?
No, there won't be, and I don't think the president would approve it, and he shouldn't.
Okay, I want to ask you about some...
We got Preddy's murderers' names. I know, you guys keep saying. I don't know what you want me to do with that information. Do you think I'm the cartel? Also, by the way, in case you want a bit of comedy, you want to know their names, I'll say them right now because it's legal too. Jesus Ochada and Raimundo Gutierrez. The race war against white people continues. Fuck off? Nope. Yep. The brave Anglo-Germanic whites of America under siege, unironically. We're getting killed en masse by fucking brown ICE agents, man. Jesus Christ. One second. I had to pee bad there. That hit me out of nowhere. Maybe I'm pregnant. There's a third guy. Fuck off. You heard of Sasha Riley? Yeah, I'm familiar with Sasha Riley's claims, yes. You see Trump shit himself on live TV? I haven't seen the video.
Biden term is going to be a thing of the past, and I'm so proud to be part of
And
this.
fellas, some great things happening, right?
Yeah.
Marty, there's great, really great things happening, I hear. And some pretty big announcements over a short period of time, right?
Yep. Moving drugs over the counter so you don't need a prescription.
Yeah, right.
Naloxone, which treats opioid, is one of those drugs. And we're being proactive with synthetic 7-OH, a new opioid that's showing up, and we're working with the DOJ on addressing that because chemists are coming up with new opioids faster than the government has been able to keep up. We're going proactive on these new chemicals.
That's great. No, I hear fantastic things. Thank you all very much. We really appreciate it a lot. Thank you, Oz. He's doing a fantastic job. Thank you all very much. I appreciate it. Thank you, please. Thank you.
Mr. President, can you respond to the new Fox poll that says people think ICE's tactics are too aggressive? Thank you, guys. First recordings, we're done. Thank you, cameras, we're going. Thank you, guys. Thank you, guys. Thank you, guys. Thank you. Are we going to flip for this, or what are we going to do? Oh, sorry, I really didn't forget about
it. I can't believe it, but that's definitely what happened.
Appreciate it. Thank you, please. Thank you.
Mr. President, can you respond to the new Fox poll that says people think ICE's tactics are too aggressive?
Well, very much. We really appreciate it.
The government has been able to keep up. We're going proactive on these new chemicals.
That's great. No, I hear fantastic things. Thank you all.
Are coming up with new opioids faster than the government has been able to keep up. We're going proactive on these new chemicals.
She looks
no,
down.
Fantastic things. Thank you all very much. We really appreciate it a lot. Thank you, Oz. He's doing a fantastic job. Thank you all very much. I appreciate it. Thank you, please. Thank you.
Mr. President, can you respond to the new Fox poll that says people think ICE's tactics are too aggressive? Thank you, guys. First recordings, we're done. Thank you.
Because chemists are coming up with new opioids faster than the government has been able to keep up. We're going proactive on these new chemicals.
That's great. No, I hear fantastic things. Thank you all very much. We really appreciate it a lot. Thank you, Oz. He's doing a fantastic job. Thank you all very much. I appreciate it. Thank you, please. Thank you.
Mr. President, can you respond to the new Fox poll that says people think ICE's tactics are too aggressive? Thank you, guys. First recordings, we're done. Thank you, cameras, we're going.
This like incredible rush to get everyone out of there as quickly as possible. It's so fucking funny. You know that he had intended to take questions here normally. Oh God, it's getting worse than Biden. It's always been worse than Biden. Biden just stumbles with his words. Like, Trump has not been mentally present for years. Hard to beat shitting yourself, man. Pinches her nose, looks disgusted, the eyes watering. Everyone, like, looks at him worried. Why would Biden poop my pants like that? Did he shit himself? Everyone here, yeah. Everyone here is on the same page. They would never rush all the press out of the room like this. Otherwise, I guarantee you everyone here expected there to be questions. And what, because Trump always takes questions, and was surprised when Trump said, you know, everyone get out of here. And then the multiple women rushing in front, like, out, 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 out. Jesus Christ, man. If the mic picked that up, it must have been so loud in the room. Jesus fuck. Yeah, seriously. That must, like, whatever ambiguity there must be from the perspective of the camera to everyone else in there, there is none. Absolutely none, you know? Oh my God. Sorry, just the discourse. What fucking reality am I living in? I think it's especially funny that Forbes Breaking News is a far-right channel, but the way they posted this, Trump does not take reporters' questions after signing executive order. There is no purpose to this clip other than the president shit himself, you know? Like, there's no reason to watch this outside of that context. So the fact that they posted it in spite of that, are the comments at least funny? Well, they're mostly poop related, you know? College Republicans are, of course, Hitler. Well, yeah, what else would they be? Let's see. U.S. committee is reconsidering all vaccine recommendations. All vaccine recommendations. Okay. Okay. Move is dramatic departure for advisory group under Kirk Milhoan, who said he doesn't like the term established science. Cool.
Mr. President, Texas, a Democrat won your special election in an area that you had won by 17 points. What is your reaction to that?
I don't know. I didn't hear about it. Somebody ran where?
In Texas, a special election for legislative
the 9th state Senate seat.
I'm not involved in that. That's a local Texas race.
Trump tweeted multiple times supporting the Republican candidate.
You mean I won by 17 and this person lost? Things like that happen.
Does it worry you about the
Well, you don't know whether or not it's transferable. You know, I'm not on the ballot, so you don't know whether or not it's transferable. But, you know, you put the Democrats in, you'll end up with open borders again. You'll end up with crime all over the place. We have no crime anymore. I mean, think of it. The country has the lowest crime it's had in 125 years. In recorded history. The year 1900. That's a long time ago. So it's very good. No, I don't know anything about it. I didn't know. I mean, I know there's a race going there. And it's too bad. What can I say? I have nothing to do with it. Yeah.
Man, the midterms are going to be a bloodbath. There's going to be so much drama. It's all going to be like fake election stuff. The Republicans are going to actually attempt to, and in some cases successfully, steal the election with gerrymandering and with like selective shutdown voter disenfranchisement, removing people from voter rolls, whatever else. But it won't be enough, you know? So they're going to actually try to steal the election, and then when they lose overwhelmingly, they're going to claim that we stole the election. And it's just going to be the same shit over and over. And none of it will ever end until all these people are arrested, which they should be. Again, the only way out is not by outperforming them. There's no point in outperforming them if you don't then cement the victory. All right? What's the point of like, you know, you're having a relay and one person cheats, but the person who doesn't cheat narrowly comes ahead. You still have to ban the person who cheats. You can't just go, phew, well, through circumstance, the non-cheater won this time. Thank goodness. Hope they win again next time against the cheater who will refine their cheating tactics to cheat harder the next time, you know? Don't cut out the Dems' ability to fuck up an easy win. Yeah, that's true. These people know they're going to prison when they lose grasp on power. I don't think that's true. Right now, I think the evidence overwhelmingly points against that. Democrats have no interest in saving the country. Man, I've got like a headache. Didn't expect to have one. I so rarely get headaches these days. Lately, it's been every other conceivable problem that I can have. Well, that's just as well. I'm satisfied with the stuff that I said. It's Sunday. I'm here to relax. You always have headaches? That's not true. Trump shitting himself made you get a headache. I think that thinking about congressional Democrats gave me a headache. Actually. I'm a sickly Victorian boy. Don't make fun of me. I'm going to read donos. If you've enjoyed the short stream, so short, you know, temporal, ephemeral, like a beautiful springtime breeze. But if you enjoyed the beautiful springtime breeze, you should like and subscribe. And also check out the site where people chat, you know, vosh.gg, if you want to. If you don't want to, you can go to hell. Die. No, you don't have to die. You don't have to go to hell even. Whatever you prefer. I only have one tab left, and it's clothing related. What is this? What are we doing? What are we doing? This shop went from 900 to 141,000 visitors in 1 month. They solve a problem every man has when wearing dress shirts. What? Are they like spandex dress shirts? Wait, hold on. The executive shirt. Nothing sells brand confidence quite as much as a permanent 50% discount. And also, rather than having an actual rating system, they just say how many customers they've had and print a 5-star logo over the shirt. That's what I like to call a reliable. Jesus Christ. All right, well, hold on. Let me see what we've got here. Why men prefer Tone Tech. Why men prefer Tone Tech. Okay. So it's a stretchy shirt. What is it made out of? Description. Executive shirt isn't just a shirt. It's your secret to looking sharp and feeling confident. Designed to stay wrinkle-free and breathable. Okay, so it's synthetics, obviously. Premium materials. Does it not say what the materials are? Does it literally just say premium materials? Oh my God, the 2010s daddy come here ass fit. What the fuck? Look at how low rise that is. Could see his pubes if he took his shirt off. Holy shit. Every guy dresses like this when told to dress formally. Yeah, it's really sad. People don't even know how dress shirts are supposed to fit anymore. And you have all the color swapping. 80% nylon and 20% spandex. Did you look it up? Does it say like somewhere else? What about sizing guide? What? Sizing guide. We recommend going one size up for a standard fit and all-day comfort. They don't have a sizing guide? For shoulder length, chest measurement? Just large, medium, XL? Shipping and returns. Estimated delivery, US, 7 to 12 business days. So it's from China. But they're not saying where it's from. That's saying I have never seen a shirt that provided no material breakdown, no sizing chart, and didn't tell you where it came from. That is crazy. I found it on the Amazon listing where it's listed. Okay. It makes sense. There might be some like border, like baseline standard for them on Amazon. Like they're required to put their stuff. Okay, for their tank top shapewear, it's 80%. I don't know if that's necessarily the case with their shirts. Let me see if I can find it. Tone Tech. Yeah, they just have their tank tops on Amazon, though it wouldn't surprise me if that was the same material as their quote-unquote dress shirts. To be fair, these are just cheap shirts. Not really. 45 bucks for this? This is worth, like, at most, negative $8. What a scam. And they're paying influencers to do the ads. Let's see the ad.
This or rip it off without ruining any of the buttons. Please stop buying dress shirts like this. It's sloppy, wrinkled, you can barely move it in.
There's got to be a better way. Are you tired of wearing high-quality 100% cotton men's dress shirts and you can't even rip the shirt open without destroying the buttons? There's got to be a better way.
And no one wants to be in one of these because it's uncomfortable. And the collar isn't stiff, so it flops around all over the place. And the second you try and do anything and lift your hands up, the whole shirt comes up.
Look at how cropped this shirt is.
On top. This is a large that I paid 70 bucks for from that Banana brand. Let me show you another dress shirt and how large should fit. Did I lie? It hugs the arms tight. It's tight along the chest as well, but loose along the...
All right. Now, here's the real test, okay? That's nice. That's very nice. Now, show it to me on a fat guy. I noticed that everyone on the site who's modeling for it has 8% body fat. Show it to me on the fat guy. Not the same. It's 94% polyester, 6% spandex per Walmart listing. Having any spandex in a, like all spandex polyester in a dress shirt is genuinely fucking insane. That's actually crazy. That's not even like a blend.
The chest as well, but loose along the waist, so it actually looks, and it actually has a very stiff collar and cuffs. Look, it's even holding the mic. When you lift your hands up and actually try and grab something, the whole shirt doesn't come untucked. Best part is this material is super stretchy, so you can actually move in it. And then even though it's comfy as hell, it's wrinkle proof. So look, you can bunch it up and it's still gonna be perfectly fine. Plus, it's the perfect length to wear tucked or untucked. You could wear this to work.
I'm 80. Dude, that's crazy long. What the fuck? You'd wear this untucked? This is like mid-thigh. What? I thought it was going to be cropped. Why the fuck is it so long? I'm 8% body fat, so should I buy this? No, and I'm being serious. When I see men walk around in synthetic dress shirts, I judge them really hard. And I'm not joking. There are lots of faux pas that I permit, but that is not one that I permit. It looks really bad. It feels bad too, okay? Trust me, there's a reason that these clothes get modeled after one wear, you know? If you find, like, good vintage fashion channels, you will find people modeling Brooks Brothers shirts made in the 1960s. They look beautiful. But these shirts, they get modeled wear 1, wear 2, wear 3. They don't get modeled for much longer than that. They're made of plastic. They smell terrible too? Yep. Synthetic fibers are made of plastic. Plastic attracts oils. The bacteria feed on the oils, etc., etc. You know.
Going out or simply just chilling around the house, it's that comfy. Especially since it's a new year, every single guy needs a nice dress shirt. And I would...
What clothes are plastic fibers permitted? Athletic wear, tech wear. Anything that you want to be waterproofed or anything that you want to rapidly wick moisture, like swimwear or like basketball shorts, anything that you're going to be sweating in, getting wet in, or getting rained on with. Stuff like that. They're tech fabrics. They're meant to be good for tech wear. Like they have technical performance, you know? Not workwear? God, no, not workwear. Or at least do like a cotton, you know, like a cotton polyester blend.
Probably pay about 50 to 60 bucks for something just like this. But actually these bad boys are on sale right now, so you can get 3 of these for less than what I paid for that one Banana brand shirt, and you're gonna get free shipping. They fit true to size and they come in a bunch of different colors. So
they don't have size charts.
My advice would be is actually ditch the stupid shirt and get yourself one of these. If you can actually find your size and color, I would definitely take as a sign to pick yourself up one. If you still see that orange shopping cart down below, I would not wait, because last time I ended up waiting, I had to wait over 2 months before I could get myself a shirt.
Yeah, true to size. The site literally said go a size up, yeah. Jesus. Oh, shit. Don't forget about the executive short sleeve. Can I take your order? Guys, please don't wear black button-ups. Wearing black synthetic button-ups, it just makes you look like a waiter. Every time. I know you think you look like a dark, edgy, club-going character from Vampires the Masquerade, but you look like the waiter. Yeesh. Jalapeno poppers? Sir? Vosh, tech materials have come a long way over the past couple of decades. There are many fabrics that don't signal tech overly while having interesting properties like hydrophobic, thermoregulating, insulating. Yeah, all of those are technical performance issues. But dress shirts aren't about technical performance. Dress shirts are dress shirts. You're not out there wearing them for a hike. You're meant to be wearing them, you know, as a aesthetic complement to your proportions. Maybe you're not wearing them for a hike? Yeah. God, this looks awful. How could anyone... Why wouldn't you crop this if you weren't going to tuck it in? That's crazy. Look at this. It's like a little skirt. The nips. Not even wearing an undershirt? Nobody who wears this would wear an undershirt underneath it, man. I suppose then cotton or linen are the ideal fabrics for dress shirts? Yeah, of course. Probably cotton. You can get a lot with cotton. You know, you don't need to go that much further than cotton. Does the shirt come with nips? Yes. Linen in some climates, but probably cotton for the most part. Oh my God, the pants. Oh, the pants. Oh no. Look at these. Holy shit. Dude, nothing gets the girls wet. Like when you show up at the function and bust out the, I am basically wearing track pants that are shaped like chinos fit. They love that shit. Who cares about like the luxurious wrinkle or fold of a high quality piece of durable clothing? Who cares about the texture or like the warmth or richness of the material? Nah, man, these fit my legs like fucking like spandex. 'Cause they are. Oh, man. Look at this. $40 watch. That's crazy. A one-size belt. I wonder why. Do the pants pull. I mean, the socks don't look bad. They're just socks. The foundation pants. Oh, we have sizes here. That's cool. Willing to bet this is marked up Timo garbage. It is shipping from China, so. Wish I had the money to get good clothes. Just got to learn how to thrift. There's some good stuff out there. Really depends on where you live, though. Harder for men, though? To an extent, maybe. To an extent. I want to pick up something from Buck Mason. Buck Mason is a great place to go if you're getting interested in men's basics, you know? They've got lots and lots of really good stuff out there. I buy whatever looks good. I never look at the material. How do you know how to take care of it then? Do you have any thrift tips? Nah, I'm not good at it. Fuck it, we ball. She looks really nice. Yeah, look at that. Who is that? Buck Mason model, modeling Buck Mason's women clothes. Some classic Oxford looks. Damn, that looks good. Hey, show me that model again. There we go. Men of the West. This is what you need to look like. Looks good. Looks very good. Return? Yeah. God, he's so hot. Yeah, he is, but you know what? Isn't he hot even without his face? He's slim, I'll give you that. But the clothes are doing the work here. He would just, if he was wearing like an oversized polo shirt and some shorts, he would just look like a normal dad to you. The fit is doing the work. It looks really good. $200 not in my budget, but it's not about these specific pants or this specific shirt, you know? It's about understanding the principles that makes this look good. Like you can find work shirts that are comparable to this in quality for far, far less than $200. How do I wear high rise with a belly? Well, it depends on the high rise pant, but I find that as somebody with a bit of a belly, I find that high rise works better for me. What's your opinion on Bronson MFG? They good. Cheap Western workwear and military reproductions. Really good stuff. $200 for that shirt isn't bad anyway. No, I am a defender of putting money into the stuff being made now. You know, it's a denim work shirt. If you buy this, it will literally last you your entire life. If you could wear this hundreds and hundreds of times, and it would only look better over time. You know, you have to think of it as a cost per wear kind of thing. And once you've bought a denim work shirt, you don't need a second one. You know. The waistline of those pants is way too high, Mo. Strongly disagree. I think this looks fantastic. Classic proportions right here. That's just one item, you know? Lots of good stuff over here. Herringbone twill fatigue shirt. I actually had this shirt before I sized down too much, and they didn't fit me that well anymore. Just looks good. It's the material quality that's really selling it here. That nice herringbone cotton, you know? You can really feel the texture of everything that he's wearing. Conveys a lot of weight. Do you own Bronson's loop wheel shirts? I used to. A nice quarter zip. How much does that cost? About $200. It's Buck Mason. Their stuff's expensive. But the point is, you can find this stuff for much cheaper. This is just a high-end retailer for a bunch of men's like classic pieces. Think of it more as like a lookbook than a... Like, the thing that's special here is not necessarily the items. The thing that's special here is the way that these items are being assembled. Quarter zips belong in the landfill. I agree if they're like techie sweater ones, but this is more of a heavy sweatshirt, which is how they were originally produced. See? You've seen cotton cardigans before, but look. How often do you see them modeled like this now? Even without the face, that's a good look. It's about the underlying principles. Basic shirt, button-up shirt, cardigan. Looks great. What do you do with the old clothes that don't fit you? I donate them to my local thrift store. It's a small one on Cap Hill that I've donated to. For the most part, they serve like poor gay people, so I think it's kind of funny that every once in a while they can find like double RL clothing in their basket. Love those high-rise looks. See, that's a good quarter zip right there. See? It's a sweatshirt material. That's how they originally were. Look at how voluminous this is. Doesn't that look really, really nice? That's the Field Spec Rugby Crew. Just a long sleeve t-shirt. But doesn't that have a really nice drape to it? It conveys quality and comfort, you know? Because it is. It's a very comfortable shirt. I've worn it. Though I don't own it. Yeah, very, very heavy tee. Look at that. Doesn't it look comfy? It's slimmer here, but you can size up one if you'd like to. Oh, this is a sweatshirt. Sorry, this is not their big... Yeah, here we go. Look at that. You know, I have this too. This sweatshirt that he's wearing. I have it in teal, though I'm not sure how I feel about the sizing that I chose. I might have made a mistake and gotten one size too small. Such is life. If you want these clothes to look athletic, you can get them in a gray heather fabric. But if you want them to look more relaxed and refined, get them in a different fabric. I don't know, they all look like rich dudes trying to look down to earth. I disagree. Is this a dropped shoulder? Yes. Like a lot of athletic clothing, it has a dropped shoulder. I don't think there's anything pretentious about this. It's literally just a sweatshirt. Looks good to me. It is rich boomer core? No. The reason you think it's rich boomer core is because clothing has systematically been made worse over the past 30 years. It looks like quality clothing, and you associate it with an older time, but we can still make this clothing. We've just gotten used to lower standards. This is not elite clothing. It's a sweatshirt. Like, you probably have a version of this, but your version of a sweatshirt is inferior to this version. That's not because you're a worse person. It's because basically all clothing manufacturing has dropped its standards over the past 100 years. A lot of people just dress like shit now. It's not even their fault. They're wearing the right pieces and concept, but like, I think that we should be, you know, celebrating the craft. Mine also doesn't cost $140. Sure, but the only reason these cost as much as they do now is because these are more of a specialty item. Let me put it this way. In order to get a pair of jeans made to the same quality as Levi's made them back in the 1950s, you would now have to pay hundreds of dollars. But back then, people buying Levi's only had to pay a couple of dollars. Today, the equivalent of 20 or 30. Same quality. Everything used to be better. In this respect, at least. What about the stretchiness? This is a cotton knit. It's plenty stretchy. What do you mean? How do I deal with stains? It's cotton. What do you mean? You wash it. God damn, that looks good, man. Look at that. Again, handsome model face. But you get rid of the handsome model face and what do you have? Is a shirt only 97% cotton good? I don't think... I don't know. I don't know the shirt. How could I say? Indiana Jones outfit? Yeah, in a way. God, that looks good. Really nice layering here. Show the current Jan Van Essie collection? I don't know enough about that kind of clothing to really comment on it. Well, anyway, let me read donos. Now that we've lowered the rent around here, let me read donos. What are the rules on layering? There aren't a solid set of rules. There's just a language. All art is language because all art is communication. It's not a matter of understanding definite rules. It's about understanding the words and the grammar so that you can use them in ways that people find interesting. Accountant, thank you for the tier 2 sub. Really appreciate that. Hacksaw, thank you for the $5. Yes, the song and the penguin meme's also a Nazi dog whistle. There's so many layers to it. All 4chan shit. Miss Gender Lynn, thank you for the 5 tier 1 subs. Really appreciate that. Here's a picture of my Luna. She was an amazing cat. Oh, I really am sorry. Rolling around on catnip. So fluffy. Can I find my little black cat? Hold on. She says hi. What do you got? Got fluff on your whiskers. Got fluff on your whiskers. I've gotten Eddie Bauer and LL Bean stuff for $5 to $10 thrifting. You don't have to break the bank to get good stuff. Yeah, you can. I found a bunch. Last time I went to the local Goodwill, I found multiple in my size. So not even just like everything, just in my size. Brooks Brothers shirts, made from the good era, you know, older stuff. How do you get your cats so chill? Well, they're actually my partner's cats, but I've been living with them for 4 to 5 months. We give them lots of kisses. Kiwi TP, thank you for the tier 1 sub. Likewise, Lord B. Wood, thank you very, very much. I'm happy to hear that your funk has improved. Noah Too Cool for School, thank you for the $5. Any recs for underwear and socks? I know of Lady Whitecoat, I&M, and MeUndies, but they aren't for me, thanks. Well, they're pretty expensive, but I am a big fan of the socks from 316. Buck Mason has some nice socks. Oh, you don't like Lady White socks? I don't know how to help you. Your standards might be very different to mine. That's crazy. Comrade Shay, thanks the tier 1 sub. Ham Monkey, thank you for the $5. I'm the only one at my plumbing company I work at that regularly wears earplugs and uses a kneeling mat. Well, Your coworkers may call you a pussy, but you can rest easy knowing that you're the only one who will be able to use your body in 10 years. Doxy, thank you for the $10. Vosh did a silly draw over of you. Hope you enjoy it. You're pulling my my leather fit here. There are extreme technical problems with this fit, but I appreciate you zhuzhing it up a little bit. It is a nice leather jacket. I hope I didn't err in getting it. Blarp. 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 Haha, love the way they anonymize themselves. This is me. They drew over me. See, I'm a horse. That's my background. Dick Thulu, thank you for the $10. Like and subscribe, or I'll force you to listen to congressional Dems mansplain to you why they're increasing ICE funding. Oh, no. I would love to hear it. Could I hear it in person? Could I hear it directly from them? Could I hear it while they're in the same room as me? Zoltan Snarf, thank you for the super kind $32.10. Money I saved not buying that dumb shirt. Happy to warn you. Happy to warn you against it. Happy to help you engage in good consumer behavior. Very much my pleasure. Vosh, pay rent or pay a jacket. I have not been buying much clothes lately, okay? I have been very responsible. Very responsible. Narrative Lover, thank you for the $10. To your point about how 4chan used to be very different, before Poll, 4chan was the birthplace of Anonymous, who famously hacked the Westboro Baptist Church. That is true. And now we know Epstein did that. Zaid Odrasir, thank you for the $5. Do you think Mira Nair being named in the Epstein files will cause Mamdani support to collapse? No, I don't think so at all. Doxy, send me an email and I'll refund the one that you didn't mean to send. Sake Tanuki, thank you for the 10 tier 1 subs. I'm going to a wedding at the end of the month in India and I get to wear a Shirwani? Really? How fun. Well, I know literally nothing about these. I know only that they are quite beautiful. Hell yes. Look at this, folks. Yeah, I don't really know anything about the rules that govern these. But they are very beautiful, so I hope you have a wonderful time with one. Holy price? Well, this is probably a pricier one, but it is a full suit. Thank you. Thank you very much. Pie Guy, thank you for the $5. It's been 11 years since my childhood friend was murdered. Sorry to hear that. He was the first person I came out to his bi. Always cherish what you have while you have it. It's a good lesson to keep in mind. Yeah. You know? What's the term? Mindfulness, you know? I am sorry. I hope you're doing well. HDMI TY and Soup Held Ducks, thank you for the $2 both. Sleepyhead and Robert Field, thank you for the $5 both. I really appreciate that. If the blue wave happens, given how dog shit the Dems are doing with the public, is it more likely the leaders will hold till death or get ousted? I really have no idea. I think there's not any, there is no timeline in the immediate future where we are satisfied with the outcome from the midterms, you know? We will always be disappointed by the Democrats to some extent or another. We're just waiting it out, I guess. And trying to get the best outcome within the range of possible ones. Elorum Basto, thank you for the $5. Zed Spaceman, thank you for the 8 Australian. Really appreciate that. We have more than enough tech these days to make all work safe and meaningful, but we just don't for some reason. Yeah, for sure, 100%. We allow these companies to skate the line because they say they need to exist, and they just don't. Sean Riordan, thank you for the $2 donos. Really appreciate that. My pleasure. And Mark Florimbio, thank you for the $2. Sorry to hear that you're in proximity to an ICE detention center. Schnarf and Mobe, thank you for the $5 both. Would you be willing to have Kat Abu Ghazala on stream? Probably, yeah. I have no idea if she'd want to, but it would probably be fun, yeah. Benjamin Gilbert Liff, thank you for the super kind $100 dono. The person who won their race, Taylor Rehmet, was endorsed by Progressive Victory. We have another Texas candidate doing a Q&A in the PV tonight we are working with. Not just a blue wave, but specifically a progressive wave. That's super based. Guys, even though I'm taking a bit of a break from electoralism, remember that right now there are men, women, and non-binary people fighting and dying to get us a better tomorrow over there at the Progressive Victory volunteer page, which is helpfully provided right there. They've got a Discord server. They're out there canvassing, doing phone banking. They're doing candidate interviews. Lots of really good stuff. And by the way, if you're a little bit more self-interested, a lot of people have started with PV and have used it to springboard into doing local activist and political work. So, you know, you've got the free time. I say give it a go, huh? Give it a shot. Paloma Del Mar and Nay Palmer, thank you for the $5 both. Really appreciate that. Gold H2O, thank you for the $5. I know you're not much of a movie guy, but have you seen Iron Lung? Look, legitimately, I love Markiplier, and I wish all the best for him. But I don't know what reason I would see that movie for beyond me liking Markiplier. You know what I mean? I don't even like horror movies. I might get spooked. Whoa. I might get scared. Wouldn't want that. Yeah, what if I shit in my pants? Cute jacket, Kaczynski. Thank you, I appreciate that. Because I've lost some weight, it doesn't feel uncomfortable to wear anymore. It's still like super, super slim. But it's a cotton bomber. Isn't that kind of cool? A cotton bomber? Like, normally bombers are made out of nylon or acrylic. You know, they're made out of a waterproofing material. But this one's all cotton. You can hear it rumple when I move around in it. And as a consequence, it is incredibly light. Genuinely really cool. Yeah, I'm really fond of how they modeled it over at Imogene and Willie. 1 second. The double stripes make it extra stylish. Yes, I'm fond of those myself. Just 1 second. Men's jackets. Do they still have it? What are they? What do we got these days over at Imogene? It's been a while since I've checked their site. I plan on flying over someday. Wow. Quilt-lined wash denim chore coat. Hold on, let me make sure it doesn't show my fucking address because they've shipped to me before when I open the page. That looks really nice. I like that. Quilt-lined, so nice and warm. Good. Lots of chore coats. They're very fond of their chore coats. Very fond of them. Work coat, shirt jacket, thermal line Sherpa. I have this. I have this military shirt jacket. I wore this on stream yesterday. Hickory stripe. Weekender jacket. I like this amber chore coat quite a bit. I like this. I like how that looks. Fairview knit raglan jacket. Here we go. The Madisonville jacket. Now, you take a look at the way this guy wears it. I think this looks stellar. So you have the jacket. It looks worn, you know, slim. And then he's wearing this beat-up mesh, like, tank top underneath it. And it ends perfectly at the waistline, you know? And for me, the jacket ends right at it ends at exactly the right point. So, like, lengthwise, it's a good fit on me for my height. Just look at that. Doesn't that look really good? Like that layering. What is he wearing here? He's wearing something white under this yellow shirt. God, that looks good. Such incredible layering. Stained pants. These pants are beautiful. Look at them. They've been patched multiple times. The crotch, the knee, this part right here. God, that looks good. Wear that shit forever. Poop stain. Poop stain. Yes, sir. Poop. Poop pants. $300 seems expensive till you remember it'll last longer than you. Also, keep in mind, Imogene and Willie is a small company. They have only 2 stores, and they relatively recently opened the second one. The reason Imogene and Willie's prices are higher is because they're not operating with the like enormous scale that you get from mainstream companies. You know, yeah, they're a boutique basically. My favorite example of like super damaged worn clothing being worn for a promotional shoot actually comes from the Eddie Bauer collab with Buck Mason. Look at this confidence. Last thing I'm doing, then I'm finishing donos, then I'll leave, okay? Eddie Bauer, Buck Mason collab. So they collabed and they did this amazing line of like the new Skyliner jacket, basically. They did a bunch of really cool stuff. Let me see if I can find this. I'm having a hard time finding the exact thing. They did the Yukon jacket, but they did a pants and a quilted they did pants as well and a quilted scarf. Hold on, I will find this. See, this is the kind of stuff, right? But let me see. I think it looks really, really good. Eddie Bauer, of course, the guy who made like the modern down jacket. But I want to find, there's this one shot where he's wearing their pants. And the pants are like super, super stained and worn, if I remember correctly. And it makes them look so good. Okay, these are the pants, but this is not the shot where they're really worn. Look at that. That'll keep your ass warm. Yeah, I can find the... It was this collaboration, wasn't it? Can't quite find... My memory might be failing me. Maybe it was a different collaboration. I just remember there was a shot where he was wearing these clothes, and there was a bunch of very obvious visible damage, and it made them look really good, you know, like as a testament to how well these wear in, but I can't find it. So if I can't find it, it might be something else. Because you would expect to see it in multiple shots. I will. How do you feel about techwear or cyberpunk aesthetics? They don't really have anything to do with my fashion aesthetics. I like vintage Americana. Those look great, random stranger. You see the stylish Winter Olympics uniforms, by the way? I did see quite a few of them, yeah. Ralph Lauren is bringing up the United States, right? As they should? Yes, they are. Very good. Ralph Lauren is the only company that should be representing the United States at the Olympic Games. What if puffer jacket but for legs? Any. That's what people used to wear to the Arctic. After down jackets were invented, of course they would go ahead, they'd make them from pants too. You would only have to wear those in extremely cold environments, though. What about Brooks Brothers? Brooks Brothers may have made the first ready-to-wear suit and manufactured a line of American formal wear that went on to define not only American fashion style, but the world's. But Ralph Lauren is the archetypal Americana, especially in sportswear. Like, Ralph Lauren has cemented our understanding of what, like, formalized sportwear looks like, you know? And it's good. It's very good. Have I worn my favorite Ralph Lauren sweater on stream recently? Hold on. Last thing. I keep saying that. Ain't she a beaut? It's a seasonal item. Speaking of why Ralph Lauren should be repping America at the Olympic Games. You wore it a few weeks ago? Did I? A few weeks ago. Did he? Did I? Would I do that? Ah, nice, random stranger. I didn't get to go in. There we go. I got it nice and slim. See? Look at that. I like the buttons, TBH. Yeah, me too. It's super comfy. All right, what was I saying? How warm is it? It's a cotton sweater, so it's not too warm. You could wear it in the spring. Is it scratchy? No, 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 no. It's a light cotton sweater. It's a layering piece, you know? You could wear it under. What do we think of something like this? Not, I wouldn't wear it with shorts, obviously, you know. If I was out and about, maybe this is a little bit too light of a jacket. You'd have to wear something else with it. I don't really know. I don't know. Could wear like a heavy jacket, you know. Bit clashy. Okay, well, hold on, hold on. What if we went tonal? Okay, for your consideration, a bomber style jacket and a work style jacket. Don't factor in the shorts, okay? That's good. That works. Okay? That's just fine. And the Capital bomber, I haven't had a chance to wear much yet. That's really good. Yeah. That works perfectly well. See, we're all trying to find out together. Yeah. Yeah. See, then it's like me being American is a secret. And I can pop it out. All right. That's enough fooling around. All right. Let me see. Any more super chats? I gotta. Still alive. Thank you for the $10. Do you have any hope that most of the Dems we elect in the midterms won't be a Hakeem Jeffries or Chuck Schumer type lib? Yes, I do, because those people are not overperforming right now. Like Benjamin Gilbert Liff pointed out, the people who are doing well right now, for the most part, are progressives. Like, a lot of the Dems who get in are going to be moderates, don't get me wrong, but That is not where the momentum is most present. Is that dust on the top of your mic? I don't know. Why are you people always complaining about something? Yes, it looks like, but it's like foam fluff. You're always complaining about something. Fuck you guys. I'll see you tomorrow.